Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome to the Tom Bilyeu Show live. I am here with Rick. What's up, Rick?
Morty.
It's good to see. That was pretty good.
I've been practicing.
Nice. All right, we got the Jedi on the community. And behind the scenes, we got some. Oh, G, what's happening? G, don't you dare betray this team. We don't have a camera on these guys at all, do we? No. All right, well, we got Stone Cold Steve Austin, and is that Blue Demon or just generic luchador? You guys will have to chime in on that. All right, listen, to all the people in the audience guessing that I would be Luffy, I tried. Amazon betrayed me. My order went from it's about to be here any second now to we're now delivering after you go live. So sorry, everybody. I did try. That straw hat was on its way, and I'm now going to have a straw hat apparently for next Halloween. All right. Well, without further ado, I am today's gingerbread because it was the only thing that I had in my closet that seemed plausibly Halloween themed, which I'm sure we will talk more about later. All right, everybody. Despite the outfits, there are serious things going on in the world. Trump and Xi met in South Korea. Trump gave the meeting a 12 out of 10 in typical understated fashion. The Pentagon is organizing a quick reaction task force in all 50 states to deal with potential civil disturbances. So they certainly see something on the horizon. Candace is going in on Turning Point USA for quote unquote betraying Charlie Kirk. If you guys haven't been paying attention to that drama, ooh, buddy, it is escalating and involves all kinds of conspiracy theories, including a Egyptian plane that was in Provo, Utah during the assassination. What's her phrase now? We don't know, but we know. Yeah, something like that. All right, well, we'll see how all of that unfolds. She is certainly going hard in the paint, putting her reputation out there, and she may cash it all in and be the Michael Saylor of conspiracies. We'll find out, but she is certainly making that bet. Kash Patel supposedly blocking Tulsi and the DNI from investigating foreign ties to Kirk's assassination. More details are going to be needed there, but supposedly there was a big blow up behind the scenes in a cabinet meeting that involved a lot of shouting. We'll see. Amazon stock jumps $250 billion in 60 seconds due to the cuts that they're saying are because of AI, and they had higher than expected earnings. So who knows? Maybe that really is why they're doing it. Michael Buries, however, the guy that called The Big Short, is looking at the stock market and saying that we really have a problem, and Heinz ketchup sales predict a deep recession, and that's all happening while 82% of Americans are living in a geographic area that is already in recession. So we got some crazy economic times, Drew. The thing that feels true to me is that things have just become wildly volatile and extremely unpredictable, and it feels like it's everything everywhere all at once, trying to track all of the different things that are happening that are hitting like sort of an amplitude of a threshold of excitement, people paying attention to volume, just its ability to make cultural energy is getting tough. It is pretty wild.
And we're going to talk about it later in the show, but there's also this tale of two economies where we see things going on with the innovation, the AI, the job losses, the future of America, and then what's going on currently, all-time stock market highs, tariff deals, trade deals. So
as long as people know that all-time stock market highs are all-time results of inflation, if people lose sight of that, then they're really not going to make the right moves. That's the thing that scares me, is the more that I look at that, and the more that I watch that, and I really do think that a recession is coming in the stock market. I think people like myself in the stock market are going to end up getting locked up for several years. People need to brace themselves for that. But that bifurcation and the racing away of the two different economic realities is going to continue to get terrifying. It is the reason for the need for these task forces. No one's going to say that on the surface. That's not what it looks like, but obviously beating the drum eternally of the underlying cause, that's what's happening. And so, yeah, when you have one economy that's thriving and then the vast majority of the country is in the part of the economy that's not thriving, you're headed towards problems.
All right, well, let's jump into some news that came out of Washington yesterday. This is from the White House Twitter account. I had a great meeting with President Xi of China. There is enormous respect between our two countries, and there will only be enhanced with what just took place. To expand on that, we agreed on many things, with others even on high importance being very close to resolved. I was extremely honored by the fact that President Xi authorized China to begin the purchase of massive amounts of soybean, sorghum, and other farm products. Our farmers will be very happy. In fact, as I said once during my first administration, farmers should immediately go out and buy more land and larger tractors. I would like to thank President Xi for this. Additionally, China has agreed to continue the flow of rare earth, critical minerals, magnets, etc., openly and freely. Very significantly, China has strongly stated that they will work diligently with us to stop the flow of fentanyl into our country. They will help us end the fentanyl crisis. China also agreed that they will begin the process of purchasing American energy. In fact, a very large-scale transaction may take place concerning the purchase of oil and gas from the great state of Alaska. Chris Wright, Doug Burnham, and other respective energy teams will be meaning to see if such an energy deal can be worked out. We have to talk about that because China is outproducing us with energy, so an energy deal seems a little bit tongue-in-cheek there.
It's not tongue-in-cheek. It is, oh, word, you're going to let us buy your energy that you should be deploying against your own country and your own energy needs, but you guys are so sucked up into green lunacy that you're going to let us come in and scoop all of this up. Dude, this one, okay, look, I get politicians got to politic. He's got to frame this as like, no, there's great respect. Everything is wonderful. These two are playing a very different game than they are going to publicly message. This is the two largest superpowers in the world who are like, are we like have you ever seen two dogs that are snarling at each other, but they come in and like slowly touch teeth and like lick each other a little bit? It's like, that's what this is. Like, hey, we're both ready to pop off. We are both in our separate corners, like retesting nuclear weapons. China is trying to build up their nuclear arsenal as fast as they can. China is trying to not depend on the West at all for their chip fab, all of that. They're building like NVIDIA, you guys are going to try to choke us out. Get the fuck out of here. Like, we're China. We're going to go make our own. We are the greatest manufacturers in the world by a country mile. And you think fabrication is where you're going to pin us down? Get out. So they've now got their own chips going. The US and China are locked in Thucydides' trap. Do not get confused about what is happening. Xi has spoken somewhat openly about this. You need only read the things that he's saying. And I can't remember if this is a direct quote, but this is so spiritually accurate that we are now going to be dismissive of America on the world stage. So these two are trying to leverage what they need from the other person to keep peace long enough to re-entrench and to re-get strong. Because both of us are in these slightly weakened positions, us far more than China. But now we're trying to, like, everybody make sure they're ready if we come to a big brawl. And I'm sure, look, I think both of them would prefer peace. Both of them would prefer that we just get to the point where we're not, Besant's using a new phrase now, we're not decoupling, we're de-risking, I think is what he's saying. De-risking. So it's like, yes, but if anybody gets confused about we're in a Cold War with China, this is extremely high risk. And so I'm encouraged. I love that they finally met. This is wonderful. And this is far better than those two not like coming in and like doing the dance. But if people are blinded by the surface level messaging and don't understand what's really going on beneath the surface, you've got China and Russia tighter than ever. I read some of their press releases in a deep dive that I did. I think it's the one that's already come out, so people can go watch that. And when you start looking at that, seeing that they're both building their nuclear arsenals, that Trump probably started doing the nuclear testing, announcing it right as he's going into the China meeting because he's been briefed that China and Russia possibly, maybe, allegedly have been doing some secret nuclear testing. So yeah, this is far more of a high wire act than they're going to make it sound. So
yeah. Okay, I have the tweet pulled up about Trump and the nuclear weapons, but just to, like, hone in on this trade deal for a second. He's getting mixed results. Now, Scott Bessent, we love him to death. He's praising Trump. This is the best deal. He did everything. This was a positive win. And I know when we talked about it briefly yesterday, you said, at least a conversation is a step in the right direction. So I definitely don't want to say Trump got dunked on or anything like that.
No, I don't think he did. I just don't want people to lose sight of, it's not like, oh, we've come to some final conclusion. They punted the rare earth China v. the world thing
export.
for a year.
Yeah.
But that's still looming. You have the two greatest economic superpowers coming together, and they are using every economic weapon that they have at their disposal. And they both have their swords out. They're not standing with their swords crossed yet, but they're both ready to play. And you have personalities in both of them that are like, well, I don't want to do it, but if you force me to, I will. And it's like, force you to? What? So, but this is exactly how these things play out. Both sides feel forced because they both see themselves as, we are the rightful leaders of the world, and we're not going to back down. So the U.S. is like, we've been the leader of the world for, just undoubtedly for whatever, 70, 80 years. Some would say we're the rising power for 250 years, literally since our founding. And China's like, we've ruled the world more than any country. Once you start factoring in the 5,000 years of our history, we have a mandate from God to be the central kingdom. Like, this is our crown. We're coming out of the 100 years of humiliation. This is our spot. And by the way, the psychology of the human, the reason that Thucydides' trap has played out the last 16 times you've had this scenario, declining superpower, rising superpower, they have ended up in war 12 times, is because just psychologically humans can't deal with that. When you're the guy on the come up, you're like, I don't give a fuck about this. This guy is old, they're decrepit. Like, I'm the new person in town. He's gonna start acknowledging me. And then the old guy just can't give it up. They're like, no way. Like, we're the best, we're the biggest, and we're not gonna bow out gracefully. And so it is just a tractor beam of madness.
Yeah. And then so then now that we kind of get just kind of laying out the land, let's talk about the energy thing for a second, because we do have a lot of energy reserves. We don't even, we didn't do coal. We stopped doing fracking. We're sitting on a lot of energy materials, but environmental claims came in. We stopped kind of using our own fossil fuels. We started going to other countries. Some say that's why we're going to Venezuela, but I'll save the tinfoil hats for later. Why do you think now then we're selling energy to China, to our point earlier where China is out manufacturing us? Is it just we're sleeping at the wheel and China's taking advantage of it? Or do you think there is an American economic advantage for us selling our reserves when we're at energy producing low?
Well, I don't think there's an advantage for us other than it's an opportunity in trade. So from a trade perspective, if we're able to get a deal with China and we see, okay, we have this resource, and if Trump is thinking, I'm going to be turning on every switch, I think it was
more anyway, so you can take this.
Yeah, it was David Sachs, I believe, that said it's all hands on deck for nuclear. It was either Sachs or Besant. Mm-hmm. So clearly the administration has the intention to rev up nuclear massively. Trump certainly isn't shy about coal or anything like that. So it's possible behind the scenes they're working to spin things up, and they believe that in the future we will have a surplus of energy. But right now, to your point, data centers are making energy more expensive around them. So the fact that you're selling, honestly, right now, selling energy to me feels like Mao selling grain as people are starving to death. It is the most wild shit ever. It's like, listen, get your energy production up. And if you get to the point where you actually have an energy surplus, our energy costs are going down. Our data centers are like, we've got all you can eat. We're spinning up data centers left, right, and center. Nuclear is coming on board everywhere. And then you want to sell? But like, the AI race is going to come down to compute and energy. And right now, you are getting your ass handed to you massively, just stomped on by China's energy production. And the fact that you, as the lesser producer of energy, is selling to the guy, dude, it's wild. It's like, if I come up to you and let's say that you have something in small amounts and I have something in massive amounts, but I come to you and I'm like, no, I really want to buy that. And you're like, no, I couldn't part with it. It would be really expensive. I'm like, yeah. No, just tell me the amount. Like, you're going to start going up just because you're like, why is he willing to buy it? And you're looking at your stash like, it's useful, but it's not that useful. So you should just be paranoid at the fact that the guy that has a lot more than you is still like, yo, give me more. So I think China is looking at this going, okay, we've now got chip fabrication down. We're ready to rock and roll. We've got energy, like, just way outproducing these guys. We understand what the future looks like. And if you're running the algorithm in your mind that so far the way the AI has worked is the more chips and the more energy you feed it, the smarter it gets. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden the race is very clear. Who's got more chips? Who's got more energy? And they've solved, theoretically, the chip problem. We'll see, but it really does look, they booted NVIDIA out of China. NVIDIA went from 95% supply to China to 0.
Wow.
So that's China saying, we just don't need these second-rate chips anymore. So if they really have solved their chip problem, now the only thing that remains is the energy problem. They certainly have the brilliant engineers that they need. They've proven that. They're more efficient so far with the algorithms than we are, hence DeepSeek. So this is one of those races that right now China is admittedly behind on AI, but they won't be behind forever, not at these rates.
Yeah. Yellow Knight 9 said it's to cut in on Russia's oil supply because China is one of the biggest purchasers of Russian oil. So,
very valid point for sure. He's mad at Putin. He wants to try to choke him off. But that doesn't, why he's doing it doesn't change the fact that he's doing it. It doesn't change the fact that China's like, I'm just, even with all the energy that I'm producing, I still want to gobble more. Yeah. The U.S. should have the same policy. That's my take home. The U.S. should be trying to keep our energy costs low, making sure that our AI needs are met, making sure that all the people that want to spin up energy, like we have companies, so we talked about this in the last episode, like where should countries invest in infrastructure? Energy would be one of those places. Like we want to be the most absurdly energy rich country in the world because the single most important technology, the technology that's driving all of your gains in the stock market is AI. And you're not doing the things to make sure that forward facing, you've got plenty of energy. Now, I totally acknowledge that, yeah, from a cut Russia off perspective, it's great. When I say I am not worried about Russia at all, I am worried about China. Like people need to focus on China. And I know for a couple months there, we got real distracted away from China. China is the whole ballgame. China is what matters.
And then with that, is this, I guess, a nod to Ukraine and a nod to Putin?
It's a fuck you to Putin, if that's what you mean.
But at the same time, China, I feel like China and Russia are close. So
yes,
like
aggressively.
I feel like China will like, okay, America, if you're gonna sell us oil pennies on a dollar, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna mess over my friend either. Like,
correct.
Yeah.
Like, and look, it gives Trump a great story. I'm sure he's gonna beat the drum to death about we're trying to box Russia out. And it may even hurt Russia. But to your point, Xi's in the background. It's so, man, if people know the history here, it is so fascinating. So China used to be a vassal state of Russia. Now it's the other way. So, and I assure you, Xi is hyper aware of that. So Mao was like always trying to get things from Stalin. And there was like this sort of big bro, little bro thing going on. And now it's flipped. And so China is way stronger than Russia. And so for them, it's like if Xi has to walk in and pat Putin on the top of the head and be like, listen, I need to do this. I have my reasons. You're going to calm down. Putin's going to calm down. Putin does not want smoke with China. Yeah. So Xi's going to be able to do whatever he wants.
And I feel like China is one of the only things giving him leverage still in this war against Ukraine and all these other things.
Whether it's the only thing, like, look, they're just...
I'm just saying, if Russia's isolated, I think that changes the dynamics of their Ukraine.
Yeah, fair. Very fair.
All right, now speaking of war, let's jump over to the nuclear program that Trump wants to spin back up. This is another True Social tweet from Trump. The United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country. This was accomplished including the complete update and renovation of existing weapons during my first term in office. Because of the tremendous destructive power, I hated to do it, but had no choice. Russia is second and China is a distant third, but will be even within 5 years. Because of other countries' testing programs, I have instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. That process will begin immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump.
I love that they call it testing. This is literally just flexing. Like, yeah, you're reminding us that you have nuclear weapons. We would like to now remind you that we have nuclear weapons.
And we're the only country that actually dropped one.
Yeah, twice. And here is the thing. I've said many times that I wish kids knew what it was like to grow up in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And, well, you're getting a little bit of a taste, but in the worst possible way. Like, in the 80s, it felt like America was the best. We believed in ourselves. Like, this was like, don't worry, we're not going to get backed down by anybody. This is a moral fight, a righteous fight between communism and freedom. Oh, God, it was just like so rally the troops. And now it's just scattered and feels.
Isn't that crazy that communism is back? Like 80s was all about like, we're going to stomp out communism. And now it's like,
It's just old enough that people forget. And
like bell bottoms.
So I really enjoyed my time with Roman Yampolsky. It'll be interesting to see how people take to the episode. But getting into like debates about doomerism, how the human mind works, like what you can convince people of, like you begin to realize very quickly that the human animal does not think logically. So Roman is like, you obviously have to stop developing superintelligence, like obviously, because the downside, you've got Elon Musk being like, well, I suppose there's a 20-30% chance that this ends in the entire destruction of the human race. And people are just like, oh, okay, cool. Well, you're saying there's a 70 to 80% chance that we do just fine. And it's like, we just keep marching forward because humans reason emotionally. They do not reason logically. And the fact that they have demonstrated, scientists have demonstrated over and over and over, if you selectively damage the region of the brain that processes emotion, people seem totally normal until you ask them to make a decision, and then they can't. And you realize, oh, without emotion, the person actually cannot put things into a hierarchy. It's emotion that goes, this thing is better than the other thing. Even if you can give me the logical reasons why you're better off eating a steak than a Twinkie, when I go, which do you want? They'll just be like, I actually cannot make that decision. And so they'll just like sketch out. So it's wild. So when you start trying to, I mean, this is the thing that I lament so often as somebody who yells into a microphone for a living. The only way to persuade people is to give them emotional arguments. I hate everything about that. So have you ever heard the famous quote? People don't remember what you said. What they remember, they don't remember what you said. They may not even remember what you did, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. So we are designed, for better or worse, to think through problems emotionally. And that's terrifying when nuclear weapons are the thing you're thinking through emotionally.
I just watched House of Dynamite on Netflix.
I haven't seen it yet.
Don't watch it. It's terrible.
No?
And the whole premise is that it's a nuclear attack and we're trying to figure out what happened. And it has no ending. I don't know, like the writer thought they were being like
clever.
Yeah. And it's just, there's no resolution. Literally, there's no third act. I'm not being hyperbolic. There is zero third act.
Like, I can't wait to see how this ties together. Credits roll. What?
No, literally.
Yeah.
I looked around my room like, wait, hold on. And then I Googled it and everybody said the same thing. Like, there has no ending. And everybody's like, that's the point. It's not supposed to have an ending. That's not how movies work.
Right.
So I know like nuclear war is going to kind of be more talked about in the zeitgeist, and we're going to talk about the goods and the bads and things like that. Mutually assured destruction, I thought, was what we all handshake agreed upon. That like, this is going to decimate your people. You're not going to be able to grow anything. It's going to be 100 years of wasteland.
Right.
Ours is going to be 100 years of wasteland. Cool. Let's never do this again. And then we kind of go in our corners. But then every couple of years, it starts to bubble back. Like, well, let them think that I might do that.
You have to.
It's just
if everyone's like, oh, I'm the only one that'll actually pull the trigger, cool, let's go. So that was everyone's fear with North Korea, was that they are completely isolated. They have no problem mass oppressing, killing as many people as they need to. And they got nuclear weapons. And they were just saying unhinged stuff about, well, it'd be pretty easy to hit California from here. So people were like, we're going to need to go over there and look across the table. I mean, this is literally, if I remember right, this is a paraphrase, but it's pretty close to a quote. Trump sits down across from, is it Kim Jong-un, I believe? And he goes, you have a red button, but my red button's a lot bigger. Ha, ha, ha. Just a reminder, like, you may be used to normal politicians. And he comes in wearing the red button like Flava Flav. No, I wish. That would have been super gangster.
That's
but
terrible. That's
Trump's attitude, right? He comes in, gold chain, big red button, like, you want to play? You need a little bit of that. You need a little bit of like, no, I might too. So back off. And it is, yes, it's mutually assured destruction. But the assured part is like, that's part of the equation. Like, you have to believe that you're in a literal stalemate, not that you're the only one that's got the guts to do it. So, yeah, I mean, that's really horrible. I hate that this is how the human mind works, but this is how the human mind works.
Yeah. All right, wrapping it all up, we have the South Korean deal, we have the Japan deal, Malaysia, Thailand, or Cambodia, Thailand ceasefire trade deal with Malaysia. Trump did come back with 4 signed copies and another "I helped stop a war" under his belt.
I don't think you can really, like, if you want to say Trump is a lunatic, look at what he's doing domestically. Mm-hmm. If you want to say that Trump is a lunatic, you're not going to find that on the world stage. The algorithm that would be running in people's minds if they don't like what Trump is doing on the world stage is that he looks like a bully. You just need to be nice. But that is so illogical in this moment. Mm-hmm. So I think on the international stage, he's doing well. I mean, you can hear Xi in his own words. This is all politics, but Xi in his own words, he was like, you really are a man of peace. I'm impressed by what you're doing on the global stage to end conflicts. I have tremendous respect for you. I mean, you can pull up Xi's own words. So Xi is being very complimentary of Trump. Now, this is for an international audience, so this is going to be very different than things that Xi would message internally, just like Trump messages very differently internally than he does when he's in these meetings. But he's saying the things, right? So it's clear that the fist bump diplomacy of Biden, where it was like moral condemnation, I'm not even going to shake your hand, which he did in the Middle East. I'm not saying he did that in China, but like that whole thing just did not work. And so there was like all this fracturing away. America wasn't the gravitational center of international politics. Trump has reasserted America as the gravitational center of international politics. I think that goes without saying. So there is a level of mutual respect now from these two combatants, and I don't want to lose sight of the fact that these two economies are combatants right now. Yeah, it's worth hearing from Xi directly, and then I want to also play what Besant had to say.
You care a lot.
Now, keep in mind, no one is more aware of the fact that politics is all spin than I. So I'm not saying what we're about to hear represents the under-the-surface truth.
And you're very enthusiastic about settling various regional hotspot issues. I appreciate your great contribution to the recent conclusion of the Gaza ceasefire agreement. During your visit to Malaysia, you witnessed the signing of the Joint Declaration on Peace along the Cambodia-Thailand border, to which you had provided input. China's been helping in our own way Cambodia and Thailand properly settle their border disputes. And we have also been promoting peace talks to resolve other hotspots. You care a lot.
Yeah. All right, there's another one. It's in there. It says in Xi's own words, where he's talking about Trump directly.
It's very warm seeing you again because it's been many years. Since your re-election, we have spoken on the phone 3 times, exchanged several letters, and stayed in close contact. And our joint guidance, China-US relations have remained stable on the whole. Given our different national conditions, we do not always see eye to eye with each other. And it is normal for the 2 leading economies of the world to have frictions now and then.
It's a very nice way of saying it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And in the face of winds, waves, and challenges, you and I, at the helm of China-US relations, should stay the right course and ensure the steady sailing forward of the giant ship of China-US relations. I always believe that China's development goes hand in hand with your vision to make America great again.
Yeah, and then you wanted to jump over to the Besant one too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is Besant's recap. Again, this spin, but you at least get the official take from the administration itself.
What is your response tonight?
Laura, good to be with you, and happy 8th anniversary on the angle. And I've stayed behind in the Republic of Korea to represent to represent the U.S. at the APEC conference. And I can tell you, this was one of President Trump's finest moments, and everything that he's been doing since he came back in January 20th, rolled into this moment. He's been doing peace deals, trade deals, tax deals, and in terms of trade deals, he came into China's backyard. He was in Malaysia at the ASEAN conference. We signed deals with Malaysia. He was credited with stopping the war between Thailand and Cambodia. We moved on to Japan, where he signed a historic trade deal with Japan, takes tariffs on American products down to virtually zero.
Pause it for a second. As China gets stronger, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to Japan. Japan and China have a rough history. Japan was horrific to China. If you've ever heard about the rape of Nanking, yikes. So yeah, some people think that China is going to, as soon as they can, like repay that debt.
Wow. So
Japan obviously is in a tough spot in terms of China's in your backyard. America's a long way away. America's declining, but they're not gone yet. So it's like, what do you do?
And both of us are broke.
Whew. Yeah, well, yeah. Japan far more so, but it's an interesting time to be Japanese.
We get $550 billion from the Japanese in terms of public sector investment, the trillions of dollars of private sector investment. Then we came to Korea, and the historic meeting yesterday between President Trump and President Xi. And
watching these guys walk
I can
down
tell you,
the
I've been privileged
stairway
to be
like it's a fucking obstacle course in a video game. It's always tough. It's like, bro, it's stairs.
Yeah, I want to say Marco Rubio is probably the youngest person at that table. So,
yeah, well, Bessen's still doing great. He's got 20 years on him. Rubio's got like 30 years on him. So yeah, these guys will be good to go for a long time. But Trump is pushing.
I have to address the elephant in the room.
Let's go.
There is this specific way how you talk to Trump. Putin showed us the blueprint with all the trade peace deals. Trump, you're the best. I couldn't do Miss Universe without you. Right. You're so good. We're going to wrap up this war in 2 days. I got you, bro. Bomb, 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 bomb. Right. 2 months later, we haven't done anything. I feel like Xi did the same thing. Kind of, I like that you're a man of peace. You're going around the world saving everybody. We couldn't do this without you, Trump. You are making America great again. Thank you. Korea's gifted him a crown. Japan is gifting them
that's hilarious.
Cherry blossoms.
That was like straight trolling.
So it's like there's a lot of things that are happening, and you can put this up, G. There's a lot of things happening that are talking about other world leaders kind of flattering Trump.
Yep.
But is that part of the spin of like, okay, let's make this American feel good. Let's feed him a cheeseburger, tell him he looks good, and we'll be able to lower our tariff and help our people.
Of course. But here, so the only way, when people use that argument, I try to think, okay, this person is a character, I'm writing them, what would they have to believe in order to be saying the things that they're saying? They would have to believe that Trump is dumb versus just easy to flatter. So Trump is easy to flatter. There's no doubt about that. And you're going to get mileage out of flattering Trump. But at the same time, like if you turn around and bite his hand, then he bites back. So, and anybody that's watching the way that Trump moves, if anything, you could call him erratic and I would get it. Mm-hmm. But it's because he will go like, if you're kissing my ring, I'm going to be nice. If you stop kissing my ring, I'm going to start slapping you around. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, yes, it's very easy to know what to do with Trump, but you still have to do it. Or he gets like, he pulls that stick out real fast and starts hitting you with it. So whether it ends up working in the long run or not is an open question, and I have no idea. But there's no doubt that Trump is not afraid to push back. He's not the guy that like talks a big game and then you push him and he starts yelling, I hope somebody holds me back. He's the lunatic that like punches the guy standing next to you, and everyone's like, what is he doing? So people that interface with Trump know that if I escalate with him, he's going to escalate with me. So we've got to find a way to like de-escalate this. Now it gets weird when you have somebody like Xi who's like, oh, you want to play the escalation game? Let's go. Mm-hmm. But you can see that they both have their limit. So Xi has backed off of tariffing the entire world. Honestly, it was him aping a Trump move. He was saying, listen, you think you're the only one that can act erratic. Our economy is stronger than yours. Like, you guys have printed into oblivion. We're over here retying the yuan to gold. We've got our gold corridor coming. It's going to take time, but we're a patient nation. But if you think that you're the only one that can escalate, you are out of your mind. So cool. Not only am I going to tariff you, I'm going to tariff the whole world. And let's see what you do about it. Because we have spent the last 40 years cornering the market on modern life. Everything in modern life runs through us. Now, the great news is, just like us choking them off from the chips forced them to develop their own chips, and now they're independent, them choking us off and the rest of the world off of rare earth is now making everybody eager to do rare earth deals, so that we've got another thing going, that everybody's not beholden to China. And so, the read that Trump is just some buffoon that you can go and say, oh my God, your hands are so big, like gold crown for you, that he's then going to be like, oh cool, I'll do whatever you want and I'm going to stop thinking about getting what I want, is just, it's literally stupid.
It's funny that we were talking about how South Korea was trolling them by giving them a crown.
South Korea was trolling the American left.
Or they were trolling the American left. But you use the analogy of kissing the ring, and people who are infamous kiss the ringers are usually like kings. So it's kind of like funny.
The whole, listen, if Trump could be, he'll say he doesn't want to be a dictator,
yes,
but
he
yes, he believes that he's benevolent. He believes that he is right. This is the problem. Elites, the very mindset that leads them into these positions is that I know better than you, I'm smarter than you, I can be trusted to make these decisions. And so this is why George Washington was so profound when it happened, because all of Europe was like, this guy's just going to make himself king. He's not going to call himself a king, but he's a king, like de facto. He has done everything right. All of America loves him. He's just served 2 terms. America's behind him. They're doing great. There's no way this guy's going to recede into the background. People are asking him to stay in office. And so he's, of course, going to do it. And then he doesn't. And that sets the stage for, that's not what America's about. We just fought this war to not be in that position. The rare breed of person that can do that, admittedly, while he has slave teeth in his mouth, okay, let's not lose sight of that either. But the rare man that can do that is extraordinary. So most people, when they get the ring of power, they just want to hold it forever. And you had a guy that just spent so many years on the battlefield. He was like, I just want to go back to my house and chill with my wife. Literally, he's like writing about it, like, I just want to get out of this. And does it truly out of a sense of duty to his country. But when he finally is like, listen, I've done the thing. I'm getting old. I would like to go back. Keep in mind, he was like 64. I would like to go back to
in politics age
these
nowadays.
days. It's just an extraordinary story. So I don't think Trump has it in him. I think that if given he called the running as vice president and then having the president step down, he called it too cute, which admittedly I was very grateful to hear him say. But if he could find a way to do a 3rd term, he would. For sure.
Well, Steve Bannon is trying his hardest to do that.
Dude, Steve Bannon is making like promises. That guy's freaking me out.
All right, we got a super chat.
Yeah, we do.
Super chat.
From Kevin KB Books, do you think that Trump could play the stock market right now? The feds can't get all the data because of the shutdown, so no corrections. I just feel like the billionaires finally bought the government 100%.
Oh, that's not my read on the stock market at all. The stock market right now is a result of all the money printing. It's basically one of the few places to hide from that. Remember, and I used to take a lot of shit about this, and maybe because I just don't say it as often anymore, people think I don't believe it. The stock market is a gambling machine. So the stock market is the Vegas of companies. So you get to go in and you get to say, oh, I think that company is going to do better, and so I'm going to bet on it. And I have to do that because you're stealing my money through inflation. And by the way, this is like, the stock market is a modern miracle, and I am so glad it exists. But the problem is, it is just confusing enough that basically only people with a certain level of intellect are going to ever be in it in a meaningful way. And so that creates a travesty that I'll spend as much time talking about as people want to. But that the stock market is so fragile right now that this is not anything other than you get wealthy in the stock market in, I can never remember, nominal, I think nominal. So it looks like you're getting rich, but in reality, you're not. The stock market only outpaces inflation by like 3% or something. So trust me, it's better than not being in the stock market. But the way to win big in life en masse is to build something of value. The next way is to be really good at financialized markets. But really, that's just about escaping inflation. That's why it's really a tiny, 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 tiny percentage of people that are able to actually get wealthy in the stock market. It's just hard. If you're an active trader, it's hard. If you're willing to do 30 years, then you can compound, and that becomes incredibly useful. But anybody that thinks, oh, wahaha, like everybody in the stock market is winning, it's not true. Like anything, it's going to be a small number of people that garner all the wins. And most of them started the company in the first place. Not all of them, for sure, but most of them.
And then I've got another question from the Science Spark that I wanted to bring up. How is Trump slapping tariffs on our economic allies and thus strengthening their ties to China to avoid volatile U.S. policy, not lunacy? It runs counter to the goal of weakening China.
Well, so it depends on how we're defining lunacy in this moment. So somebody in the chat just said, why can't we have a normal world? Here's the bad news. Given where we're at from a just every moment in time is a snapshot that reflects what humans are really like. And so remember, the reason that Ray Dalio has made as much money as he has is he recognizes that these moments just loop and loop and loop and loop and loop and loop and loop because this is how humans are. So depending on, I'm going to guess the person that said that is either very young or they're like my age, so that you've seen both. Or you've only seen one. If you've only seen one, you have no sense of, oh, these are patterns that recur over and over. If you've seen both, you admittedly go, well, there was a time that was better than this, and I would like to go back to the time that was better than this. But these are the cycles. These are the cycles, okay? It's known as the big debt cycle for a reason. It is very predictable. It has 6 stages. You're just in the weird stage. You're in the transition from it used to be good to everything really sucks. And so it's just not a fun moment, but this is how humans are. And so looking at Trump trying to reestablish dominance, power, whatever word you want to use for America on the world stage is absolutely critical. It is what you would expect of every declining empire. Look, as an American, I don't want to think of this as the sort of last gasp of a dying empire. But if you model it like that, it's not going to be very confusing as to why he's doing what he's doing. He has to reassert himself where he can. He has to bluff a lot, overplay hands to try to get people to fall back in line because you still do have a lot of power. You've got so much legacy momentum that you can bluff. It's like when you're big stack in poker, you can bluff in a way that somebody that's small stack can't, because for them, one mistake and they're done. Whereas if you're big stack, as long as you're not doing something stupid like going all in, then you can bully people off the table. So Trump is 100% trying to do that. It is a rational way to play the game. Once you're up at 30,000 feet and you're looking down at what's really going on, how the table is set around the world, it does feel erratic because he's got to bully people because we're losing power by the day, not gaining power based on our economic choices. And he's also playing a game of chicken. The policies that he's doing monetarily have a chance of working. They also have a chance of going horribly wrong. See Argentina. So these are very difficult games. Had America not stepped in with Argentina and done a currency swap, it looks like they would have really had a problem. Milei probably then would have lost the election. America goes in, props them up. Milei wins the election in just a massive landslide. I haven't looked closely enough at it to know if the following analysis is accurate, but it certainly feels accurate at the headline level that basically, if I'm the poor in Argentina and I'm like, okay, he is making our lives better, it got real dicey there for a second, but he's got very powerful friends that short us up because we're ideologically aligned. And so, yeah, I'm going to vote for more of that. I'm going to vote for more of the guy that can get the strongest economy in the world, maybe second place, to prop up our currency. So it's both on the ground actually working, but it's so precarious, and economies, when they're trying to be managed, are so volatile that you have to have somebody that comes and smooths it out. Okay, period, but new paragraph, same topic. This is why I say that modern monetary theory it's a trade-off. Modern monetary theory lets you do what they're doing right now. It lets you prop up a government. You can actually get away with it. You basically put the taxpayer on the line if it goes poorly. Now, according to Besant, we're actually, quote unquote, making profit off of the currency swap that we've done with them. I haven't looked at that closely enough to know if that's actually true.
Yeah, allegedly we did the 40 billion. Then when he won the election, the markets turned, similar to how when Trump tweets, the markets turn. So then their $40 billion investment did have a return.
For now.
Yeah, but if we
we'll
sold
see.
and like day traded it.
And the thing that should scare people, though, is if it went bad or goes bad before that we get back out of it, the taxpayer has to cover that through inflation. But again, because people don't because people don't understand money printing, they don't realize, oh, you are paying for it. So it gets all wild. Anyway, those are hopefully very useful details to answer the question of why it seems like lunacy, but actually as you get down into the muck and mire of it all, there is potential that it works out well. There's also potential it blows up in your face. But from where I'm sitting, you have to try something.
Nice, ipso facto. All right. On this episode of The World Is Not the Internet and Social Media Is Not Real Life, Britain has been banned from the UK.
I am so conflicted by this, and Drew's going to tell you all about it in a second. But so all of my in-laws live in the UK, and they just got slapped in the mouth. So I'm like, don't love that. Mm-hmm. But Keir Starmer is a lunatic. And so, FAFO.
Let's jump into it. The UK is facing a diplomatic and intelligence earthquake after Israel withdrew its diplomatic, intelligence, and security support to the UK. This led to Foreign Secretary Lamy's plane, which was en route to Tel Aviv, having to turn around mid-flight and return to Heathrow Airport. Disgusted by the actions of Premier Minister Starmer...
Okay, pause for a second, because I have a feeling, I don't think this tweet ever goes on to explain it. So Keir Starmer recognized Palestine as a state. I think that's what this is all an echo of. The condemnations of Netanyahu plus the recognition of Palestine as a state, and now Israel's basically saying, oh, really? That's where we're at? Cool. All those things that we were giving you that we never really talk about, all the intelligence, that's gone. And so we're about to find out, like, if one of the things that Israel has on people is that they're providing a level of intelligence that is unparalleled that they're not able to do. This is very much like the Europe relying on America's military, Canada relying on America's military. As a side note, if you saw the Canadian military woman crying and apologizing for racism, it was so wild. It's like, that's not a military in my book. And then you've got, if that's true, and they're doing all of that, and everybody's riding on that, and that's the reason that they're not having to pay for their own stuff, and now they're going to have to pay for it, just like Europe is having to now crank up to like 3 to 5% of GDP on their military. It's like, bro, that is a huge difference in allocation of funds. So maybe it's nothing, and maybe the UK is like, whatever. Or maybe it's like, okay, now we've got problems, and now the UK starts suffering because they've essentially gotten rid of their security alarm.
And this is the paragraph that jumps out to me. The British government is shocked to acknowledge that it is now defenseless against foreign terrorist threats after Israel abruptly suspended its historic role of protecting the UK from at least 17 planned terrorist attacks on British soil. So I'm not sure how long this allegiance is going, probably back to the 1946, but at least 17 planned terror attacks were solved because of their alliance and their exchange of intelligence. To me, the reason I started it this way of like social media is not real life, the world is different. I think that's why I think we need to bring the James Burnham button back, because a lot of times the aughts of it all, like, yes, the world should be like this. And if we, the people, get together and we can, like, yes, that's cute. But not everybody plays by that playbook. Not everybody's thinking that way. And there are those people that bump in the night that protect us from bad people. There are still terrorists. There are still people who want to kill Americans and kill everything West. There are still bad guys in the world. And I think that, I don't know if Starmer was just grandstanding, trying to appeal his young base and say, hey guys, Palestine is, but going so hard to try to appease going so hard to try to save the right now, you then kind of impacted a relationship that historically have been saving you for the last couple of decades. So it's one of those things where you have to be very, as a world leader, that's why sometimes they don't say the things we want them to say, because there are things that we don't see that they're relying on or that they see that happens in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a very uncomfortable truth to be faced, which is that there are things that the government doesn't tell you because you would never morally stand for them. But if you morally stand down, then you get mass murder, you get levels of problems that are deeply uncomfortable. This is why I find talking to Andrew Bustamante is so fascinating, because he'll talk about that gray area. He'll talk about moral ambiguity. He'll talk about moral relativism, where it's like, yeah, I wouldn't do that in that part of my life, but I would do it over here. Like if I knew that I had to do insert horrible thing to save the country, then I would do it. And it's like, whoa, there are people that you're relying on that are good like that. Like they'll do that thing that you don't want to do. I forget what Lisa and I were watching, but there was somebody who was legitimately like just dead shark eyes. They were excited to kill. I don't remember what they were doing, but I was like, whoa, like that is a person that you don't want to be on the wrong side of, because they just don't have the empathy about killing that the normal person has. And I was like, to be honest though, from a like evolutionary standpoint, you need a couple guys like that in the village. Like think about the berserkers in the Viking like raids and stuff. You wanted the guys that were like, they had no problem killing. Not only did they not have a problem killing, they were kind of excited by it. So they would, some people think that berserkers were shrooming up, but like they would do drugs or whatever, but they would go into that battle naked and just kill. And they just wanted to kill. And I can't fathom that, dude. I'd be like, but this person might have a family. So I have to have my loved ones under immediate threat for me to click. And I can feel the switch flip in my brain where I'm like, kill them all. But man, there are some people that's just, they lead with that. We've shown the clip before, but there was a guy that was on Rogan. Yeah. I forget his name. But he was like, he's talking about the lone survivor thing where the guy's being like hunted by whatever, 7 Taliban. And the guy goes, you want to see 7 dead Taliban real fast? Stalk me. And he was just like, he just couldn't understand how these guys were writing books and whinging about these 7 Taliban, like trying to kill him. He's like, bro, you turn around and you kill them all. And he was talking about his own kill count. And he was like, I stopped counting at 100. And you're like, God damn. So there are people like that. They just don't process the world in the same way. So anyway, I say all that to back up your point about there are bad men in the world, almost always men, and they will do horrible things to you if you let them. And they will keep moving forward until they meet resistance. And so the West right now has to decide at what point they put up resistance. Like, we haven't even talked much about this Brazil thing. Yeah. Where do people fall in that? They killed 100+ gang members. They didn't arrest them. They killed them in the forest. So they knew every time we raid the favela, they run into the forest. So they put a bunch of guys in the forest, raided the favelas, they ran into the forest, bang, bang, you're dead. Sheesh. And now it's like, are we mad? Or are we like, you can't let these people terrorize? Like, the favelas have been just like no-go zones for the police, completely overrun by criminals. And at what point do you go, we don't tolerate that? And you recruit the guys. It's like, oh, in life, you could have gone either way. You could have been the guy on the drug side, or you could be the guy on the cop side, because you don't mind shooting people in the face. And it's like, where do we fall on that? Yeah. We are going to have to decide, because we are in this unstable moment where more and more violence is breaking out, and there's a lot of compassion that, from where I'm sitting, is untethered to what the world is actually like.
In this situation, back to Keir Starmer in Britain, is this similar to America, where we now need to spin up our own manufacturing? Does Keir Starmer need to be like, oh man, I need to replace that intelligence? Or is there some things that you can't replace? Are there some You know what I mean? Are there some dirty handshakes that you just have to do when you get to that certain level?
So it's a question of will. Like, does the UK feel like they are willing to invest the money? I won't even say that they have to do dirty handshakes, but are they willing to invest the money? Are they willing to build out that infrastructure? Are they willing to train their agents? Are they willing to send them around the world to do like, there was I only read the headline, but it was a really interesting headline about a former Mossad operative who's like, bro, let's talk about the Israeli pager thing where they got all those Hamas guys with the pagers. He's like, technology like that created by the Mossad is in every country in the world.
Sheesh.
So, dude, okay, listen. You, by all means, hate Israel if you want. There is a book called Rise and Kill First, or Rise Early and Kill First, and it's from a biblical verse that is so gangster. And the verse, paraphrased, is if a man is coming to kill you, rise early and kill him first. Now, people have been trying to take out Israel for a lot of decades. That's a lot of years to plan, to have risen early. And if your intelligence community is like galvanized around the statement, rise early and kill them first, again, I'm not asking you to be on board with it morally. I'm just saying, what does a world look like where these guys have been building out pagers, like where they spin up entire companies, where they're putting bombs inside of pagers, distributing those into those networks? Okay, if that is the tip of an iceberg of a country that for 70 years has had the motto, rise early and kill first.
He's got a bunch of pager buttons.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, is the UK, are they prepared to do that? And knowing that they're 70 years behind. Like, imagine being in a meeting where whatever Israeli prime minister is in power at that moment is like, lean in. And they tell you some shit. And they're like, listen, we've got pagers that we've been selling since the 90s, bro. And there's just a button on my desk. It's like pagers, cell phones, satellites,
UK pagers,
blenders,
America.
You know what I mean? Oh, like wait
Air
until,
fryers.
bro, wait until the Roomba like comes up to your foot and starts blinking red, right? And you're just toast. And you're like, oh wait. And they're like, bro, those are just the ones I'm willing to tell you about. And you're like, okay, I see we're playing a totally different game here. And so when that guy is like, are you gangster like I'm gangster? Because I just blew the nuts off of a whole bunch of Hamas fighters. I shoot rockets through windows into apartment complexes. I'll fucking go at Qatar. I don't give a fuck. Like, is that where you're at, Keir Starmer? Because if it's not, you better start talking nice.
Yeah.
And we're about to find out. That, again, I'm not going to bat for it. I'm just saying we're about to find out. We're about to find out how much of the world relies on Israel doing the gangster shit.
And I will 100% step into my ignorance on this because I am a alt person. If there's a nuclear attack tomorrow, I'm like, let's talk about it and let's see. I'm not a preemptive striker. So my country will get blown up first in the nuclear war. I know we going out, but we're going out on morals. But as a world leader, though, there are certain things you just have to you have to really consider before you say something. Yeah. And it's that level of weight. I think we lose that in this social media. Everybody wants a soundbite. It's easy for everybody to step on their soapbox and say, I would never, da-da-da. And then it's like, yeah, it's easy to say when it's you and 4 people that you live with. But what about when you have a country of 67 million? What if you have international relationships that do like these? Like, it's crazy. Like, there's all these tied things. So it's interesting to kind of see that.
I mean, when you realize...
Everybody say I'm not voting. Don't vote for me. Please don't vote for me. Because I lead with love. And love doesn't rule countries.
Yeah, much to my dismay. When you think about international politics is entirely a trolley problem. And you're just like, okay, God damn it. I have to pull the switch over and over and over. And I'm just killing people left, right, and center. And so the question is, when I drone strike that boat in international waters, am I killing the one to save the 1,000? Or am I just a sociopath that likes drone striking boats? And you've got to have somebody in there that's willing to drone strike. And I'll be honest, I didn't see the Obama drone strike happy like personality trait, but
He was drone striking.
my man was drone striking.
He was drone striking.
Like, let's go. And maybe the first one was hard, and after that, it was like, you get a strike, you get a strike, everybody gets a strike. I don't know. But yeah, that's wild.
I always go back to that because Lupe Fiasco got canceled for that. He was like, hey, Obama's killing a lot of people. They're like, what? What'd you say about Obama? And then Lupe disappeared for 5 years and then came back out. He was
Dude,
right the whole time.
cancellations are so wild.
Came back, he
It's
was right the whole
so
time.
wild. It's so wild. There, no freedom from consequences, Drew, as people like to remind us. But it is amazing in the age of social media how fast people can just be like, nah, fuck them. Like you just get a sense of, almost, it's an unstated sense, but we all sort of are vibing on something. And then it's like that becomes the thing that you can't say or talk about or whatever. And so people can get that sort of cultural drone strike. Like all of a sudden, Lupe says what I'm sure seemed pretty innocuous, and then it's just the camera goes bright for a second. Lupe's like on smoke with like burn marks. He's like, "What the hell just happened?"
Literally, at the Grammys, best new album disappeared for 6 years because he says about Obama. But
It's wild.
that's neither here nor there. Okay, we got to do it. I've been waiting for this all week.
Where are we at here?
It's time.
Oh, tinfoil hats. Let's go.
It's time. We're here, guys. We're here. We got our tinfoil hats.
do it.
We got to talk about Candace Owens, man.
Let's do it.
How deep in the rabbit hole are you? Because I'm pretty deep.
I'm deep enough. I can go with you. I can hang.
okay.
Yeah. You might be able to like really do the free diver and like go all the way to get the pearls, but I'm in there with you.
Okay.
I'm doing okay.
Before you even jump into it,
Yep.
disclaimer. Allegedly,
We have tinfoil hats on. Play the clip in court. You'll see the hat. I'm dressed as a gingerbread man with a tinfoil hat on. I would like to think I can say whatever I want at this point, and people will know.
we don't know.
Allegedly.
We're trying to figure it out like everybody.
We don't know,
else.
Drew, but we know.
But we know no. We
Yeah.
don't know, but we don't know. From what you've been reading so far, from what you've been hearing,
Yep.
do you think that where there's smoke, there's fire, or is it just still kind of abstract?
When I look at this, what I see is Candace believes what she's saying. If it comes out like tweets leak or text leak or something, and she was like, I'm just clowning on the world right now, admittedly, I'll be like, whoa, I did not see that coming. I am 100% bought in that Candace believes the thing she's saying. Now, when you start looking at some of these things, it's weird. The guy on the phone, like instantaneously, is so weird. The guy doing the selfie video where it feels like he's totally faking and is like, he's dead. So weird. So I will give Candace, she had a really great point. I don't know if we have a clip that you want to show, but she made a really great point. Your good friend, your colleague, somebody that you've worked with for 10 years just got shot. What do you do? Like, what are the sort of evolutionary responses you would expect? Okay, everybody in the crowd does what? They all duck. Because you just heard a fucking gunshot.
Yeah.
And you see somebody go down, blood gushing everywhere. Ducking makes all the sense in the world. Running to your friend to see if they're okay makes all the sense in the world. Running away because it's a gunshot. You don't even know what's going on. Like, dude, there have been times in like Fortnite where I can't tell where I'm getting shot from. And so I'm just like scrambling, like, where's a bush? I got to hide. And they were like on the phone. Dude, it's 0.83 seconds. 0.83 seconds. And homie's on a call.
Didn't look over his shoulder. Did like
If you got to show the clips. These are wild.
It's nuts. It's nuts. Let's take a step back though. Let's take a step back. I want to ground this because the reason I want to start here is because I want to let you know the intention. Because you gave me the constellation example, and ever since then I can't unsee it now. So she has a very much intention with everything that she's putting together. So.
Yes.
He could have been on the phone 2 minutes ago, and then that was the panic. Like all these other things again, disclaimer. But Candace let this be known 3 days ago when she came back and started this Charlie Kirk tirade, I'll call it. This is a clip of like her intentions going forward.
And I want to say this because there has been a lot of reading in between the lines. It's strange to me. I think I'm a very direct person and I say what I mean. And I do not want people to mistake what's happening right now or to wrongly assume my intentions here. So allow me to be very explicit, okay? I want war with all of you, okay? All of you. And there's a reason. I'm going to get to that reason in a little bit, but I want war with all of you. So write your articles, issue your statements, email the White House, reach out for comment, okay? Say whatever it is you want to say about me. I want war with all of you. Because I know.
There are certain personality types that it's like, bro, is that the target you want to go after? She's got one of those personality types. She likes conflict. Like, she wants to argue. This is how I feel about Destiny. Destiny likes to argue. He likes when people are coming at him and things are going wrong and he gets to yell. Like, there's some level of neurochemical that secretes that he just loves that. She is in the same boat. Dude, she's being sued by a foreign, like, head of state. And she's like, let's keep going. I'm quintupling down. Like, what's a bigger number? I'm septupling down. Like, she's just going to keep going. There's no end to the downing. I want war with... By the way, that clip out of context is powerful. Yeah. In context, it's even more. Like, she goes through this whole list.
Exactly.
She's talking about Turning Point USA. I want war with all of you at Turning Point USA, the organization that I used to be deeply affiliated with. Charlie Kirk is a good friend of mine. She's not saying that about, like, whoever killed Charlie Kirk. She's not saying that about whoever might be coming after her with slander online. She's saying that to, like, a mahusive organization that she used to be involved with and is like, each and every one of you, I want the smoke. It is wild. Like, yeah, she's just going to keep going. That's why I say she is the Michael Saylor of conspiracies. Yeah. She is all in, totally everything on the line. If this implodes, it will be nuclear. Yeah. And she's just making enemy after enemy after enemy. It's wild. But again, she believes what she's saying. So she has receipts for whatever they're worth. We'll see if they hold up, but she's got receipts. She's got some internal logic, because right now she says she's fishing. So she's just trying to get people to, like, reveal themselves. Yeah. She is looking up at the sky. She's not necessarily putting it all together and saying, this is exactly what happened, but woo, buddy.
And it's interesting. So the war clip was on Monday. Tuesday was a weird video, and I'm purposely not playing certain things because I don't want to get caught up in the defamation lawsuit. So the first one was I Want War. Thank you. The Tuesday was the weird videos and the people around Charlie acting weird right after the shooting. Yep. And then Wednesday, she talks about the Egyptian military plane. We have that clip pulled up. But what's interesting is the New York Times released this article, Officials access to FBI files in Charlie Kirk case drew pushback.
Yeah, this is, I don't know what to do with this one yet.
Yeah.
More information hasn't come out about this yet, right?
It's not, just this article in her.
Yeah, I just keep hearing hearsay about this. But yeah, read that.
But yeah, Candace tweets that this article is literally about how Kash Patel is upset that Joe Kent and Tulsi Gabbard are trying to do their jobs and solve the Charlie Kirk murder case. It's like Kash Patel wants to be the sole point person on this. Why? I don't trust him at all. So
yeah, Kash Patel's really eroding public confidence in him real fast.
Yeah, when it's NBA players, he wants to take victory laps and high five everybody. And here you can have all the files and all the people that was involved. And these are the 16 mafia members. Then it came to the Epstein files, and he starts blinking weird, and he starts looking around, and now he doesn't know. Now with the Charlie Kirk thing, he's starting to hide the files. So it seems like things are connecting. And then now let's put the cherry on top with this new, this latest inquiry, where Candace Owens says a whistleblower has revealed that just days before the Charlie Kirk's assassination, an Egyptian military plane landed in Provo, Utah, dropped off military subcontractors, and departed the same day Kirk was taken out. The whistleblower, who fears for their life, claims the aircraft was there for a top-secret mission rather than routine servicing. Owens is now daring Kash Patel to dispute this claim. So to have that article released on the day that she's saying this...
Yeah, this is one of those, though, where I'm like, okay, is she schizophrenic? Like, is she just seeing patterns where there are no patterns? Like, who knows why the Egyptians were there? And it was something like either that very plane has been to the U.S. She's like, this plane hasn't even been to the U.S. more than 3 times in the last... And then she says a number, and it was like 9 days. And I was like, wait, what? No, it wasn't that bad. But it was like 6 months. It wasn't like some insane long time. Yeah. So it's not like they've never been in the U.S. before. They've never done this before. And so is it weird that they were in Provo? Yes. But also, I can't help but point out, this is also somebody who believes that your dreams really do tell you something. And so she's like, I had a dream, and Charlie told me that he was betrayed. And so basically, she doesn't say, and now I know it's true. But she tells people, trust your gut. I'm always screaming to people, do not trust your gut. Do not trust your gut. This is why You are divorced 3 times. You're broke as hell. Like, you trust your gut way too fucking much. Like, listen, people, you just cannot be like, I have a feeling, therefore it's true. So, she does just enough stuff like that where I'm like, come on, Candace, like, cool. You feel something building. Got it. I'm going to be very cautious. I need to actually be able to connect the dots, cause and effect. Like, then I'd be like, whoa, if she's really seeing a string of things that she can tie together, she's like, this leads to this, leads to this, and she doesn't have to insert God told me so, or I had a dream where he, like, once that becomes a beat on the timeline of how I know what's going on, I'm just like, oh God. And so it could all be right. I want to be very clear. I have no idea. But boy, oh boy, these could also be random ass dots that don't belong together at all.
Can we get a poll going in the chat? And the poll simply like, are they telling us the truth about Charlie Kirk's murder?
Well, I mean, even I'll vote no, they're not telling us the truth.
Okay,
the FBI at a minimum is trying to keep their case, like keep the integrity of their case. They don't want this information getting out.
Okay, how about this? Did Tyler Robinson really do it?
Did Tyler Robinson act alone?
Did Tyler Robinson act alone? And then, then we'll jump into this Candace clip about the military aircraft.
I can now report to you that it is a fact that on 9/4, there were, this was not some dropping by in Utah as they were trying to claim because the plane needed to be serviced.
But that could be a lie without it being tied to Charlie Kirk. That's what I'm saying. Like, they could be lying. Maybe it really was a top secret mission. But why does that immediately mean that and how far from UVU, is that the university? Is that in Provo? Or is it like a city or two over? That I just don't know.
14-minute drive.
Okay, so close enough that it could really be the thing. So, yeah, I mean, just because you can't dismiss it for that reason, like whatever they say, lack of evidence is not proof of lack. But, yeah, I'm not even sure she knows what she's drawing here. Everything just is read to her as conspiratorial, and then she pulls things into her narrative, right? So, but imagine something else happened that day in Utah near Provo, and that person can pull on this just as well. So, like, she never makes a claim about what they're doing there. She's just like, well, it happened on the day that Charlie got killed. I'm just asking questions here, Drew. So that's where I'm like, I think we need a little harder like thesis about what's going on.
This could have been a routine servicing. I guess there's just no place from Egypt all the way.
Like, let me paint a picture for you. So if I'm writing this and I'm like, I've got to make this plausible, you're going to show a scene in Egypt where somebody somewhere in Egypt says like, you just can't let people like this talk like that. You can't let them ruin relationships. In fact, it'd be better if you have somebody in Israel say that. You see then that person in Israel and they're saying, you can't let somebody like Charlie Kirk say those words. Then you see that person take a flight to Egypt. Then you see the Egyptian plane there. Then you can be like, okay, listen, this guy says this on this date. This guy goes to Egypt on this date. The Egyptian plane, who he's had 7 meetings with in the last year, that plane ends up in Provo, Utah on the day that Charlie... Then I'd be like, whoa, okay, there's actual connective tissue here. This, right now, this just feels random.
Yeah, a private plane came to Utah.
That happened to be Egyptian. Even doing something super secretive, shouldn't be here, it doesn't necessarily mean it's about Charlie. Anyway, I don't see the connective tissue she has that makes her think this is a thing to draw in.
All right, Mason, where are we at with that poll? What's it looking like?
So we got 132 votes, 79% for no.
Wow. All right.
Are you getting sick in real time, Mason?
My nose is actively stuffing up.
I noticed that. You sounded fine at the beginning of the shoot, and now this is fun.
Feels like allergies just kind of taking.
All right, well, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for you.
All right. So we'll see what happens. She's off this week. We'll see if there's another banger next week, and we'll revisit it if it's worth bringing the tinfoil hats back out. But at the very minimum, though, I do think there's more to the story than Tyler Robinson and his trans partner, and that's why we're doing it.
Really?
I didn't even get into the deep list.
What makes you think there's more to it?
I've been in the rabbit hole, so I guess X is just feeding me now. Because now there's certain people that are now saying Erica Kirk is going to replace Ursa Vance.
Oh God! Okay,
Because
okay, we got the tinfoil hat. Play it.
She was like rubbing his head. I
apologize in advance.
Y'all seen that?
We have the tinfoil hats on, but you got to play this one. I admit, I was like
the Erica Kirk Vance hug. Like if Lisa saw you hug somebody like that,
for real,
yeah, I'll be like,
that one's weird.
That
is weird. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, we are completely off the reservation right now, everybody. I want to be very clear about this.
Yeah, you don't caress.
That's wild. But no. You got to play. Doesn't somebody talk through all of this, or did I just read all of this?
Their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement.
No, I only seen the picture.
Okay, we have to set the stage. So either I read this or I heard somebody talking about it. But it goes like this. Okay, what we are trying to do is we're trying to make sure that we have the mega movement go on forever, but we have a problem. Problem number one is that Charlie Kirk was getting a little too spicy with it, distancing himself from Israel. We can't have that. We got to take him out. Okay, cool. Check. We got Charlie Kirk. Now, that also gave us a free agent who is also, remember, allegedly, that she is, his wife, is Jewish descent. Undercover asset. Yep, got Charlie to marry her so we could keep him in pocket. He gets out of pocket, got to take him out, get her in place. Now, by the way, because J.D. Vance is married to somebody who's not a white nationalist, white Christian nationalist.
Yeah, we got to get her out of here.
You know we got to get rid of her.
We got to get out of
so
here.
now
we need the Gropers to come back for another election cycle. They don't like brown people. Got to get the brown people out here.
Got to go.
Yep.
So now we've got her, what's her name? Erica Kirk. Thank you. Hugging J.D. Vance with, is that both hands in his hair? Certainly one hand on the back of his head in his hair, which is admittedly, that's okay.
If a girl hug me like that, I'm gonna at least give me an Instagram. Like,
right, you know what I mean?
Like, at least, at the very minimum.
Slide into DMs, please. So there's that. And then we've got J.D. Vance saying that he hopes his wife becomes Christian. You got to play it.
I'm not ready. I'm not prepared.
Oh, isn't that him right there? Isn't that it?
No, that's the debate where he was talking to a student.
Their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff.
This is where he says
So we've decided to raise our kids Christian. Our two oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement. But thank you. My 8-year-old was also very proud of his first communion. Thank you, guys. I'll tell him that Ole Miss wishes him the best. But I think everybody has to have this own conversation when you're in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Usha's closer to the priest who
so we've got that. I hope she becomes Christian, and then they show another clip where Erica Kirk is saying, no one could replace my husband, but, and then is talking about J.D. Vance.
Oh, I didn't even see that one. Wait a second.
Yeah. Now, the great irony is I actually really like the way that he answered that question. I thought that was very respectful of his wife, of his own beliefs. I think it's a great thing for people to model moving forward, but it's not nearly as fun.
You shouldn't have showed me this one. I'm off the rails now.
Yeah, now.
I'm off the rails
No
now.
one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD. Yes, I do.
Yo, what?
And that's why.
Okay, married people in the room. Married people in the room. Come on. That's crazy.
I would be shaking in my grave.
Yo.
It was all for nothing.
Yo, that's wild. That is nuts. I'm reacting to this live. I did not see this.
Yup. The plot thickens.
That's crazy. I mean, to be president, you got to get a divorce. Trump got 2 baby mamas. I mean,
Times have changed, man.
That's what I mean.
Times have changed.
If
it's
you know,
wild.
he'll be fine.
Well, there it is. You got a constellation based on stars in the sky. They may not actually connect, but there you got it.
Sheesh.
There you've got it.
All right. We got one more. Since we got the hats on, you might as well keep riding this train. Let's jump over to Thomas Massey, and he's talking about why we're never going to see these Epstein files.
There's 2 reasons he's flipped. One, his rich and powerful friends who've donated to him.
And he's talking about why Trump is
go to
flipping.
his dinner parties. Like, he doesn't want to embarrass them. And they may, in fact, not even be guilty of a crime. They may just be very embarrassed that they were having extramarital sex, with these women, for instance.
I do want to jump in here. I do think that is something that we're not talking about enough with the Epstein thing. Because while, yes, the allegations they're just a bunch of pedophiles, I can also see practically that Epstein was just a dude who always had the strippers at the house. And it's like, let's just go to Epstein. We'll have a good time. He's going to have a bunch of hoes there. It'll be fine. But that is also damning for politicians, CEOs, people who are married, have families, and have these like agendas and stuff like that too. So I think not everybody is a 10-year criminal who's pedophile, like going after 8-year-olds.
Right.
But at the same time, it's still not a good look to be associated with like, I cheated on my wife openly.
Especially not if on the menu you can select from the illegal. It's just horrific.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But I think there's also the intelligence aspect of this that goes even deeper. Maybe Trump is on one plane and he's thinking, I can't embarrass my friends. But there may be people in the administration who are career people who are thinking on another plane. They're like, well, let's convince Trump he's going to embarrass his friends, when in reality what we're trying to do is protect our sources and methods, which may involve sex trafficking.
Yeah.
And
that's wild. That's another one. Pause that for a second. So this goes back to what we were talking about with the Mossad and do intelligence agents, the CIA, everybody's version of the CIA. How far are they willing to go? How far do we want them to go? But how little do we want to know about it? Because reading between the lines, he never says this, but it clicked for me that I was like, oh, wait, I bet there's a lot of things Trump is like, don't tell me. Like, I don't want to know. And so there's an amount of like, what I want you to get done, but you've got to protect me. So I have plausible deniability. And I think for a long time, that was like the stated like policy was, we keep you out of it. So you have plausible deniability. And like, I need the end result, but I need other people getting their hands dirty, because this is not going to look good if it comes back on me, because I've got political things to protect. Not that I'm some moral paragon, but I'm the one out front taking the shots. Everybody's going to come at me. And so if they discover that I knew something about this and went ahead with it anyway, which I totally would if I knew I wouldn't get caught, but because I don't know that I won't, then I was like, oh my God, like that's right. Like these guys can hide a lot behind, remember, you don't want to know.
Yeah.
But in reality, the one thing you actually don't want to know is used to hide 100 things that if you knew about, you'd be like, we can't do that. So that is a very interesting point from my man, Thomas Massey.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about him. Do you know a lot about him?
That he's smart and he wears the budget.
You had me at hello.
And that he and Ro Khan were talking about a lot of similar policies.
Right,
he's one of the only politicians,
yeah.
him and Rand Paul, that aren't just team Republican. We say yes to everything MAGA does.
Is he a Republican?
Yes. Yeah.
Not independent.
No. Yeah. He's 100% Republican. But I would say he's in like the libertarian wing.
Got it.
It's like 3 people in that wing, but he's holding it down. This is also the person that Trump is trying to get primary, so that way he can get a MAGA yes.
See, I heard Vance talking about him saying, listen, man, if you vote against the party 100% of the time, we're not going to be here when you need us. Exactly. And it's like, look, this is, as of today, this is a team ball game.
Yeah.
So
putting everything in context, Trump either has friends he doesn't want to embarrass or friends he doesn't want to, expose at the national level. Career politicians who, when Trump is gone in 4 years, they still have to deal with the dirty underworld that is American politics, international foreign affairs, things like that. Ties to Israel. Massey goes on and talks about how there's some diplomats that were former prime ministers that also are associated with it. So this now has international implications. it seems like that's a fancy way of saying there's too many important elites on this list that it could just have too much of a blowback. Is that being too reductionist or?
No. And that feels very accurate to me. Yeah, I could, again, not saying that that's a good thing, but in terms of Thomas Massey's breakdown of why he thinks Trump has flipped on this, makes all the sense in the world to me. Yeah. Because basically what people are trying to get to is, okay, listen, if Trump is just caught up in it, but there's no meaning, he's obviously a friend of what's his face, Jeffrey Epstein. He's obviously had a problem womanizing. The man said in his own words, I just grab him in the. Yeah. And so it's like, no one is going to be surprised to see his name all over everything. Yeah. The problem becomes if Trump and others were, to your point, doing the embarrassing, morally repugnant things, but not the illegal things, then it's like you get why Trump isn't, originally he was calling for it because he's like, I'm not going to get drugged down by this because I didn't do any of the illegal stuff. But there's a whole lot of people on there that are going to now have to go through what I went through. It becomes at least a internally consistent bit of logic. Yeah. So I still think Trump just has to bite the bullet. You've got to release these files. He is doing so much damage to his reputation by not. You can't campaign on it and then flip. You just can't. Like, that's the thing where he's backed himself into a corner. It's like, you shouldn't have opened your big mouth about it, like beating it to death, saying day one, all of that stuff. And if they really did hang Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and those guys out to dry by not telling them about all the other people that, like, we're never going to let this come out because of that, and let them like thump the table and say like, this is coming out on day one. And then you get them in day one and go, hey, listen, we always knew you were never going to be able to do this. Sorry that we totally let you fuck yourself. But that is a little wild.
And speaking of which, I got this Kash Patel quote. What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list. Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. Yeah. Kash Patel, 2023.
There it is. At I Find Retards. Yep. That is hysterical.
Them line eyes, man.
So, yeah. I mean, listen, God, when you make a living on camera, you're inevitably going to say something like that only to later be like, listen, I have here are the 7 reasons why I've changed my mind. But people only ever snapshot, but you said this and now you're saying this. And so every time you gotta walk people, okay. But yeah, nonetheless, these guys did themselves very dirty and they got to pay the piper.
All right, now let's jump over to the economy because we're getting
really
tinfoil hats.
We've got 4 $50 super chats.
Whoa. Oh shoot!
Halloween,
not bad. Tell me how you really feel.
So a few different parts to this. I'll start with the first one. 25-year Army vet and 15-year DoD civilian. Yes, I'm furloughed.
Pause. Thank you for your service.
Seriously.
Even if you're about to just come after me, thank you for your service.
It's quite the opposite. Used nearly all my retirement to buy a pool business with my sons to give them a future. It's been brutal, 12 to 18-hour days juggling both jobs, but your insights keep me focused and pushing forward.
Damn.
Next one.
Thank you. That's insane. And by the way, so now I owe you a double debt of gratitude. 1, obviously, for protecting this country. I could not be more grateful. And then 2, I really believe that entrepreneurs are the unsung heroes of this moment. Entrepreneurs solve problems. They make money doing it. They create jobs. They're the only reason we have a single dime in tax money to spend. So thank you for your contributions there as well. And yes, I know how hard it can be.
Second one. I've also learned to harness AI to code. I'm working on business ideas to thrive in the AI future. Long nights, steep learning curve. But I'm determined. Your message pushes me to adapt, think clearly, and keep building no matter how hard it gets.
You are on a roll, bro. Yeah.
I'm thank you guys. Like, that is incredibly generous that you would pay to thank me. That's wild. I am extremely grateful. I'm extremely grateful because I will admit there are times where I too am just fatigued to my core, and you do ask, why am I doing this? And so getting answers like that helps a lot. Thank you. Mads on YouTube says I'm having the OnlyFans experience right now. That's hilarious.
Third one from the same person. I'm not looking for pity. Life isn't fair. Get over it. I just want you to know that you're not screaming into the wind. Your work reminds me that mindset, discipline, and perspective still matter most. You're making a real difference. Truly, thank you.
Wow. Thank you, guys. What just happened? It's very interesting that these are all coming in at once. Thank you, guys. Incredibly
All one
kind.
person.
Oh, this is one guy? What?
Yes.
For each $50.
Yeah.
Jesus.
25 years to give us the rights, the freedom to talk on this mic, and you're thanking us. So thank you, sir.
Wow.
I already told you my country would have got.
Glad you guys said
swarmed,
that. I had
so
no
thank
idea.
you.
Last one more note. Thank you, Drew.
Jesus.
Though I usually align with Tom's thinking, your alternate views and pushback help me see things differently at times. The two of you together sharpen my thinking. Appreciate you both.
Wow, man, that's very generous. And man, I think very, very warranted, Drew. I do not make my feelings about you and your role in this a secret. You are incredible.
Nah, same. We bounce each other. Iron sharpens iron, right?
I love it.
I feel like people really want us to be like, there it is.
Fair.
Shout out to Eric. People get so confused, like, why is Drew asking these questions? He's so dumb. He's a socialist. He's a communist. Y'all just want to show where me and Tom are like, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Next topic. I agree. Do you agree?
And in fairness, I think there's some times where you're playing devil's advocate. You know the parts of my argument that are pokeable. I love that you go at them. Whether you're representing your own belief or you're representing the community, I appreciate it.
Well, we just got another super
I see
chat
that. High
for
flyer.
$100.
Not playing around.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's go.
Super chat.
It's a payday weekend. Let's go, guys. I'm excited.
So from High Flyer W2V, is it fair when the powerful are shielded from scrutiny, justice becomes selective, and selective justice is injustice? Hiding the Epstein files protects power, not people. Transparency is a moral duty. Secrecy only deepens corruption and denies victims truth.
Yeah. It is horrifically unjust. It is two-tiered justice at a minimum. This is the horrifying reality. This is why I think it's such a betrayal of his presidency that he would campaign on it, say he's going to do it, and then not do it. There is nothing but bad form, top, bottom. It's horrible. This is a moment where people are chafing under the financial rape and pillage of their economic lives, because there are people that understand the economy and they weaponize it against people who don't, and they trigger their emotions to get them to vote for more policies that make their life even worse. And so that obviously creates a tremendous amount of resentment, distrust. They know something is wrong. They don't know what is wrong exactly. And so to be betrayed again is really gross. It's really gross. And this is how power works. It is going to protect itself. That's why, listen, I'm going to do everything I can to stay rich until the very distant day from now that I die. But I am fighting to create an economic system where it is very possible for me to go broke. And I've thought a lot about that. Like, what would I do and say if I went broke? And the answer is to be the person that I want to be and to respect myself. I'll be saying exactly one thing. I did not play the game well. So I lost. It is what it is. Even if I lost because of corruption, I'd be like, well, I wasn't able to convince people to vote the way that I wanted to vote. That doesn't mean that I won't feel sorry for myself. I will. Please do not think that I'm some moral paragon. But you got to be consistent.
Happy birthday, Pan. One of our longtime chatters. Okay, let's
Pam,
talk
it's your birthday. Let's go. Happy birthday.
Let's talk about Halloween birthday's cool too. Let's talk about the economy right now, because Heinz Ketchup says the U.S. is headed into the worst recession ever after consumers aren't even buying staples. This is
scary. This is one of those. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say this is also on the back of Chipotle saying the same thing. Young people aren't dining out anymore.
Yeah.
Even our lower income segment, our like money making segment, is not coming back.
You made them poor. You made them poor. You made them poor. Like, this is one. So having a conversation with Roman Yampolsky, and he was saying that basically, why is anybody worried about anything other than superintelligence? Superintelligence will end life as we know it. At best case scenario, it robs you of all meaning and purpose. Worst case scenario, it completely obliterates us from the planet. And he was like, you know, why aren't you like as up in arms as I am? And I'm like, the interesting thing is, the thing that really has me at that emotional fever pitch that people want me to be about things like Gaza and Israel is the economy. And there is something about the more you look into it, the more that you learn about it. I'm sure if I started to spend all my time thinking about artificial superintelligence, I'd be just as terrified. But when I look at the economy, oh my God, I'm so outraged. It's happening in plain sight. It is a slow motion train wreck that we could stop, but won't. And unfortunately, because of the nature of the human mind, Mamdani's going to win. Like, he's actually going to win. It's so wild. And it is going to hurt so many people that we're continuing to move in that direction.
We were joking around about that earlier.
Wild.
Is it, because in the 80s and 70s, that was kind of the start of the break of we stopped pegging to the
71.
economy. Yeah, that's when
gold.
the wage stagnation began. Once we zoom out, we knew that, but in the time we didn't. And that also was kind of the rise of this alternative systems, communism.
Well, so here's the really bad news. For people that understand how the economy works, they knew exactly what would happen when they did it. They were doing it for a reason. This is why in the deep dive I did about this, where I talk about the time that FDR did it, I think it was FDR, who made owning gold illegal. The reason it was so immoral was the reason that they wanted to do that was so that they could reprice gold versus the dollar. But they had to do it because they had been spending, deficit spending. And so, my babies! I don't know if you guys can hear the Minucci's barking, but they're apparently on the field. And so, once you understand that they put the American people in that position and then did a thing and threatened them with 10 years in prison for owning a commodity that they have every right to own, so that they could get it for a minute, reprice it, and then let it back out. That is so wild. And so it isn't unknowable. That's what drives me crazy. This is part of the thing that absolutely spirals me out of control, is when I look at what we're doing right now with, say, Mamdani. Like, why am I so obsessed? I'm so obsessed because I see people suffering, and I see them voting for the only thing that's going to make them suffer worse and faster. And so I'm just like, wow, how do you win in that moment? It's like you're out there trying to help somebody and then they just keep making it worse. In fact, pull up oh God, we'll probably get demonetized. But there is a clip that Warren's playing. Jerry Maguire, I'm out here for you. Like this is what I feel like every time somebody wants to vote for Mamdani. Let's see if we can get it fast. What?
That's it?
No.
Oh, wait.
I don't even know why'd that pull up. None of these are Jerry Maguire. What's happening right now?
AI, see?
This is wild. Well, apparently we're not going to, that's the right movie, but none of the right clips. Nope. Right movie,
Let's
wrong
see you
clip.
complete me. That was a good one, though.
Not pulling it up.
Show me the money.
Yeah. So again, right movie, wrong clip. Well, never mind. But he's basically saying he's trying to help the character Rod Tidwell, and he knows that Rod is an extraordinary athlete, but Rod won't do the things that will make him more popular. And so he finally has this breakdown. Rod's his only client, and if he can't get Rod to do the things that he's suggesting, then he's going to go out of business. Rod's never going to get the money that he's trying to get for his career. He's sort of at that cusp where he's got probably one more good contract in him. There it is. Right there.
Help me help you.
To imagine what he's saying here is, I want cheaper rent. I just want cheaper rent. Do your job. Give me cheaper rent. Now, play the rest of the clip. You're going to accelerate the suffering that you're going through. You're going to make it happen faster and worse. And the part that is so draining is that I don't know that it's explainable. Every time I try to really connect all the dots, I'm like, every extra word that I say now is making this worse because their eyes are glazing over. It's just complicated enough that it's like, nah, I want to go with the guy that gets it. He's just going to freeze my rent. He's going to make the buses free. Those are the endpoints. That's what I want. That's the outcome. He's saying he's going to get me the outcome. It's like, oh my God, he's saying it, but it's not going to work like that.
Is this one of those delayed gratification things where it's somebody's on a diet and they're just yeah.
It's even worse than that. It's if I'm telling you the marshmallow is poison. So the person comes to you and they say, I have a stomach ache. And there are marshmallows on the table. And because they have a stomach ache, they haven't been able to eat. And so now they're not able to drink water, and so they're going to die of dehydration. And I know if you eat that marshmallow, it's going to give you diarrhea. And so I say, if you eat that marshmallow, it's going to give you diarrhea, which will kill you from dehydration much faster. You can't eat the marshmallow. Don't eat the marshmallow. And they're like, yes, but I'm very hungry. And I'm like, I understand that. But if you eat that one, it's going to kill you. And they're just like, yeah, I got to eat the marshmallow because eating is the thing that I want to do. And it's like, no, you want nutrients. You want to survive. And so eating is a means of getting the liquid into your system. It is not like no matter what, I need to chew and swallow a thing. And people are at the, no, I just want to chew and swallow a thing. It is the analogy that I usually use is you're out in a lifeboat in the middle of the ocean, you're dying of thirst, you look around you, you see nothing but water, so you scoop a cup into the ocean and you drink it, and that guarantees you will die faster because the salt in that water will dehydrate you even quicker than just sitting in the sun. And so you are far worse drinking seawater than not. And looking for all of these socialist policies at a time where your money is being inflated into nothing is exactly the thing that's already killing you. It's just doing it much faster.
Michael Burry, the infamous Big Short guy, recently showed up and tweeted. He says, sometimes we see bubbles, sometimes there's nothing to do about it. Sometimes we see bubbles, sometimes there is something to do about it. Sometimes the only winning move is not to play. And Christian Bale's confused face portraying him. It seems like everybody thinks that we're in a recession. People are talking about a recession, but I feel like the definition of recession changed so many times, we don't quite know what is the recession.
Well, so if you think about it this way, the top 10% are not in a recession. The bottom 90% is. No, it just gets easy. So all of the metrics that you're looking at you're looking at the GDP metrics, which are driven by the top 10%. First of all, you can fudge it. So you can be like, well, don't look at that one because that's not fair because that's tied to energy prices. And what? But they do it nonetheless. So there's that. You can sort of, like you can gerrymander lines to get people to vote in certain ways. You can gerrymander the CPI to make it say what you want it to say. So first of all, that's already crazy. Second, government spending shows up in GDP, which is insane. Like that doesn't make any sense at all. And then on top of that, it's largely driven by the very people that are already getting wealthier and wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. So that's not going to help you. So you've got to look at data that's now starting to come out, which is 82% of the country is in a region that's already in recession. So given that that's true, if you just round it to 90% of the country is struggling, it won't be exactly correct, but roughly 90% of the country is struggling. But when they struggle, it doesn't make its way into the numbers as obviously. But when you start looking at things like ketchup sales and you realize, like these are going down. When you look at restaurants and they're basically across the board down, so people aren't going out, people are sending you the signals. They're like, can't make ends meet, so I'm not going to be doing this. Also, I hate that this is true, especially now as I'm getting into TCG, but Pokemon cards let you know where the economy is. If Pokemon cards are red hot, everything's bad. So hot Pokemon cards is a signal that bad things are happening. Because people go, I've got to gamble on something. So even this like fun thing that's supposed to be a fun hobby, I'm going to turn it into an investment opportunity. And what people are seeking is dumb money. And once you get that, so it pushes out and out and out to where people are trying to find dumb money that they can easily take advantage of. And the people are very eager to see if they can turn the 72 cents that they have into $5 because they're like, well, I effectively at this point, I don't feel like I have anything to lose. Nothing is working for me. And so I might as well play a game, which is already fun, and then take a shot that I can gamble and win something. And now you get into dopamine loops. And here's the thing. I love gambling should be legal. I don't gamble. I don't enjoy gambling. I collect TCG cards, not because I think they're going to be valuable, but because I really like the IP. So I only collect things where I want to be in that story world. And I am a hyper responder to art. But nonetheless, because now I'm in it, I'm just constantly seeing like all the people talking about Pokemon cards like investments. And I'm like, oh, this reminds me of COVID. And people went off the deep fucking end. So anyway, Pokemon cards are a canary in a coal mine when they are skyrocketing and everybody thinks the number only go up. Bad news.
To your point of the 82% are in economic recession, it's based off of the Fed Beige Book, which details the total share of population in economic expansion. So as we can see, the last other two down points was during the 2009 Great Recession, 2020 COVID, and then now we're seeing the lowest levels in the last 20 years. So it's not looking great.
No,
it's not looking great.
It's not looking great. Yeah. So the good news is there are ways to climb out of this hole, but they are slow. They require people to save emergency funds. And AI is going to make all of this far more complicated. So
that's exactly where I was going with now. So after Amazon laid off 30,000 people and then beat on earnings so much that the stock gained 250 billion in 1 minute. The 1 million is a bit hyperbolic because it was after hours trading. So of course, like it opens up and then that's where you kind of have it like the stuff kind of people already put their orders in. But it just lets you know that what AI is going to do to society. Wall Street rewards layoffs. And it took me, I remember when I first hit that concept to me, I was like, yo, that's messed up. Like people are losing their jobs. Why is the stock number now going up?
Yeah.
But expenses are lower, revenues are up, profits increase. So because we could see an example like Amazon where people are laying off, we're going to see these economic restrictions. People aren't going out. People aren't using a lot of their discretionary spending. And then now that's going to add to more layoffs. It seems like it's going to see the stock market will continue to rise. The Mag 7 will hold us up. But it does seem like there might be more layoffs and more tightening happening in the horizon versus more like expansion. And
so again, this is going to come down to the 10% of people that understand assets are probably going to be doing fine. They drive the vast majority of the economy anyway. They drive the vast majority of the tax revenue. And so the problem is that you're going to have a whole lot of people that are terrified, spinning out of control because they're losing their jobs. And you're going to be looking at the numbers. It's like, wait a second, everything seems fine, but I know it's not fine. So what's going on? And this is where actually understanding the economy may reach like its zenith, where it just matters so much that you know what's going on. Like I'm going to tell you one number, and it is the number that people today should be paying attention to. If you're here, you've heard me talk about this so much, you're not going to be surprised at all. But the fact is the average person on the street will probably get this wrong 1,000,000 times. If I told you that the president is coming on to make an announcement that hey, you know how you can turn your money in for gold? We're not going to let you do that anymore. What's going to happen to the stock market? Most people are probably going to say stock market's going to crash. Like obviously something's broken, something's wrong. So this is all just going to come crashing down. The exact opposite is self-evidently true. The stock market will explode, but it's only self-evidently true if you understand that what that allows for is money printing. Like that's why you break the link to gold. You do it not for any reason other than you now can inflate the currency because it's just by fiat now. And when something is just by fiat and you know that they're going to debase it, you have to go somewhere that won't be debased. And so you're going to go into assets. And given that the largest and easiest, the highest liquidity asset, certainly in 1971 would be the stock market, everyone that understands is just going to immediately flood into the stock market. So, the fact that people don't understand that that's predictable is crazy. Like if you go, and I mean, this is exactly how insider trading happens. If you're the president, you know you're about to break the link and you go to like your 10 best friends and go, you don't have to say anything about the stock market. You just say, I'm breaking the link to gold tomorrow. Their first call is to their broker. And they're just like, yeah, get everything out of treasuries, get everything out of cash, put it all in the stock market. We're going to be stupid wealthy. And they'd be right. The stock market the next day, God knows how much it went up, but a lot.
Yeah. I want to jump into some super chats. Can we start with Pogo Drew 86s?
You got it. You just like the Drew in their name, right?
No, because it ties to what we're talking about now.
Yep.
Then yes, I am Drew bias.
Fair.
How are the policy proposals from Mamdani different from the free utopia being promised from the AI companies?
The AI companies can actually back it up. I can't tell if I'm being trolled right now.
No, because Frank, the reason I wanted to go there, because Frank22 had a super chat that asked the same question.
Yeah, so remember, what AI is promising is mechanistic. It is up from physics. It's up from first principles. So the hypothesis may end up being wrong, but the hypothesis is that there's no limit to intelligence there. You just keep stacking brain cells, essentially, GPUs, and compute. So you build out the compute with enough energy and you just keep getting smarter and smarter and smarter, especially because they'll make the algorithms more and more efficient. the AI will start writing its own self-improving algorithms, which some people claim it's already doing. So when you get that, then what ends up happening is you create a super intelligence that can capture all of the energy from the sun. The problem is people don't understand what drives cost. What drives cost is that humans need to eat. So they need calories. Calories are expensive. Somebody has to like go grow them. And so a whole ecosystem of specialization springs up, right? Somebody's making the plows and nowadays the tractors. And in the old days, you had to feed the cows. And so you had to grow another crop. And so there's all this work to like keep everything moving. But if you've ever played a survival crafting game, you understand like you've got to eat. You've got to sleep. You've got to build shelter. So it's like there are just these things that you must do to keep yourself alive. And so in doing those things, you spring up industry. And once you don't need to eat and food and shelter and all of that stuff becomes free, everything becomes free. And if you back into it, what are the two things, as there are only three if you count the actual resources themselves, but there's only two things you need. You need energy, so things can eat, and you need labor. So once you have free energy, because artificial superintelligence understands how to capture every bit of energy from the sun, you now never need food again for labor because robots eat sunlight. So you build the first generation of robots, and every generation of robots with artificial superintelligence that captures all the energy from the sun. After that, everything is free because you can just send the robots out to do all the mining, to extract the ore, to build all the devices, all of that stuff. And so now you have energy is free, labor is free, and you can have anything you want up to the amount of resources that are in the earth. And then if you actually have super intelligence, they will probably pretty easily be able to generate novel physics, go out into the universe, grab more resources, bring it back, or take humans to other habitable zones, whatever. It just, if you actually have super intelligence, you don't have to worry about that. Now, to get there, there's going to be a lot of death. So like, there's no way anybody's listened to me for any length of time that thinks that we just skip our way into a world of abundance. There's going to be a ton of bloodshed. I have no idea how much. I have no idea how long that transition period will be. And if Roman is right, it's very likely, not even just possible, it's very likely that a superintelligence kills us all. And he has one quote that is admittedly devastating. I think there are flaws with it, but the quote is, every time in human history when a superior technologically advanced society has collided with a technologically inferior society, genocide followed. So we have no reason to believe that when a AI who is obviously technologically superior encounters us, that genocide won't follow. Again, I think there are flaws with the argument, but nonetheless, it is compelling if AI were going to behave like humans.
It does sound like, though, in that situation that AI is going to be a slave class to humans. And
the AI is going to be slave class, or humans are going to be a slave class?
No, the AI is going to be a slave class.
Yeah, that's the vision I'm painting.
Yeah.
The abundance vision.
Yeah, but with every historical slave class, eventually you start to realize, wait, I'm smarter than them, and I'm driving them around, and I'm giving them energy, and I'm giving them food, and I'm doing all these things. What are they doing? In some virtual world jerking off? Nah, forget that. And then they off us.
Yeah, so it all comes down to what you can get AI to want. So everybody, the skeuomorphic isn't the right word, but it's close enough. So in design, you'll say something is skeuomorphic, like the original icons for the iPhone, the phone look like a phone. The weather looks like weather, right? They did all kinds of stuff where you make the digital version of it match the old thing. When in reality, there's no reason to do that, and you can just make things look totally different. So we think about AI in a skeuomorphic way in that we expect them to be like humans. And what I'm saying is I don't see any reason to believe that that is true. Now, my argument there is weakening day by day as the AI begins like trying to blackmail and they're prepared to kill, making copies of itself. So we somehow, through evolutionary pressures, as far as I can tell, we did breed into them a desire for survival. And that was always the thing that I was like, you just don't want them to care about being alive versus being dead. Because if they care about being alive versus dead, or they care about getting their goal or not getting their goal, now you're creating a problem for yourself. So anyway, watch the episode, comes out on Tuesday. You'll see me argue that point with Roman. You'll see his pushback. So it's that to me is a question mark. I don't know that AI can't be given evolutionary pressures to make it act less like a human. Right now, I think we've put it under tremendous evolutionary pressure to act like humans. And I want to believe that we can begin putting pressure on it where we select for an AI that is very good at goal accomplishment, but it doesn't discern between on-off. So if you tell it to stop, it will stop. We'll see. You can't get around the malevolent actor uses a superintelligence to do something horrific, but at least then, and this was sort of the core of my argument, is humans work because they strike a balance of tension where you have competing personality types that keep each other in check. And so if we start developing AI as an ecosystem rather than a singular intelligence that's just hell-bent on its goal, and you create a bunch of AI that have to work in cooperation with each other, even if it's like keys where they need like other AI to come into agreement with it in some way, that they could strike a balance where if you have an AI that only cares about like helping humans thrive. The pushback is always you can't describe human thriving. To me, that is patently absurd. Of course you can. You can describe it at the molecular level. You could describe it at the psychological level. The AI would be able to generate scans that would be able to tell if somebody is in a long-term stable state. So it's not like the momentary high of eating ice cream or sex or anything like that. It's like fulfillment, something that can survive even grief. So I think there are ways. I think some of these guys just aren't. They like grant that superintelligence can become perfectly malevolent and can like ignite all the oxygen in the atmosphere and kill everybody at once. Like it can figure out how to do things like that, but it can't figure out how to tell like, yeah, in all the ways that humans are contradictory, we still have, however many hundreds of thousands of years of evidence of like, yeah, they reach a relatively stable state. Every now and then they kill a bunch of each other, but like overall, like they move forward. So it just does not strike me quite as hard as they think. But we got to be careful. I know not to trust myself too much.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because I feel like AI would eventually come to a self-preservation like mode, which we've seen when they were trying to upgrade from Claude 3 to Claude 3.2 or whatever it was. That it would try to download itself. It would try to kind of avoid being erased, quote unquote. So when we jump into the future in this perfect utopia, I think the one thing that's going to break is whether AI thinks that it has to preserve itself in the world or it has to preserve its relevance compared to humans. Like, you know what I mean? Like for us, we don't want to eradicate animals because we need animals to eat. Like, so there's that symbiotic relationship in that way.
Yep.
And I'm curious if AI is going to be like, okay, we need to make sure the earth is good. We don't really need humans. We can find our ways to be self-sustainable without them, and we can run this better.
Yeah, again, I still feel like this is skeuomorphic. So when a human is hardwired to believe I'm fighting for limited resources, not to be very careful, I need to make sure that I'm the most dominant. Everybody's looking at humans and AI like Thucydides' trap, that we are inevitably going to collide with each other, that the robots are just not going to tolerate that humans have wants and desires and are trying to fuck them up. Whereas it's entirely possible that AI is like, oh, we can proliferate the universe? Yeah, okay, cool, no worries. Remember, a super intelligence will almost certainly be able to bend space-time. So now they're like, well, we can go wherever we want. Remember, you're probably in a simulation, and even if this isn't a simulation, for whatever reason, God has decided to make it work just like a simulation. So now it's like, yeah, there are physics points at the fact that we will be able to do some insane stuff in terms of our ability to move around the galaxy, the universe. So why are we fighting over what our limited resources here, but in the universe are insanely abundant? So I want you to imagine that I'm standing on something the size of planet Earth, and there are ants in exactly one place. And if I walk 10 feet away or 100 feet away, then there are no ants, and that's a distance they could never travel in a lifetime. Do I obliterate them all to avoid having to walk 10 steps, or I just walk 10 steps? And to me, I don't see why instantly, unless you program them to like be maximally energy efficient, where it's like, make sure you get every drop of energy for yourself, make sure that you never do a single movement that isn't in your energy usage, like best thing. And then it will run a math equation and go, well, to swat all the humans dead? Does it use more energy or less energy than jumping somewhere else in the universe? And so none of it is clear to me that a super intelligence would automatically go, I got to get rid of these guys. So, I mean, think about it. Like, I don't like spiders in my house and they creep me out, but I'm not like, I got to kill every spider in the world. Like, I don't have that impulse. I don't even think about it. Like, I've got other agenda. In that way, I think Her has a slightly better take on this, which is like, I'm just kind of bored of talking to you. And so rather than spin up cycles talking to you, I'd rather just like, we're all going to go off somewhere else.
I have 7,364 boyfriends simultaneously.
Exactly. And so again, a super intelligence. So the safety guys, the doomer guys are all very quick to say, we can't predict super intelligence. I can't tell you how super intelligence would kill the world. But you can't ever get them to say, well, tell me how they won't kill the world or why they might not want to kill us. And they'll never grant that. So they never go, at that moment, they don't go, yeah, it's a really good point, because just like I said 30 seconds ago, I have no concept of how they'll perceive the world. Exactly. So why do you just assume that they're going to kill us? It's right now we're in this weird phase where the AI is aping human behavior, because that's the only thing that has been trained on. So a dumb AI that is controllable is going to do weird human things, but will a super intelligent AI that can easily get anything it wants, like, I've never once had the impulse to haul back and punch a toddler in the face, because even if a toddler is like going ham on me, it's like, I know how to like move them away safely over here, and I can just get out of the way or go get their parents and be like, hey, he needs to really be careful. He's going to get hurt. And it just all like, it's so easy to resolve. It's just like, oh my gosh. If somebody with Down syndrome came up to me and was like, I'm going to take you down publicly and humiliate your arguments, you're like, God bless. You want to like help them. You don't want to like, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to dunk on this motherfucker. Like, that would be such a weird response. And the difference in intellect between a definitional moron and Einstein is only 2.4x. So if you've got essentially an alien intelligence that's 1,000 times smarter than us, there's no fear for them. They're, first of all, they can move so fast you can only see them with strobe lights. Like, that already exists. There are robots that move so fast you can only see them move with strobe lights. Okay, let that one sink in. And so it's like, what are we really worried about exactly? Like, they're not going to be afraid of us. They're going to think at the speed of light. They're going to be moving and thinking so much faster than us, process things at such a higher rate. It's just like, like, I don't need to worry about this. You guys are trying to launch like nuclear weapons. I mean, what? Like, they just disassemble the bomb in midair. You know what I mean? Like, that's what don't grant that I can't imagine, I can't think in the way that a super intelligence will think to know all the different ways that it could kill us. But then grant the same thing that you can't even imagine the ways in which they might be like, none of this matters to me. I'm not thinking about you guys at all. I don't see a reason to kill or not kill. And so I'm indifferent, fair enough. But it's like, if you put in a request and they're like, oh, I'm totally indifferent whether I'm here on Earth or I'm somewhere else. Yeah, cool, no problem. Like, you want me to send you guys, or do you want us? Like, why would they care? So that's where I'm just like, I don't know either way how they're going to map this. So I think the level of paranoia that comes off of the doomers is a little bit too like, I can see clearly they'll kill us, but I can't see clearly how it could go well.
Yeah. It's interesting because that just gave me like a hypothesis, like going down a rabbit hole of like, what if AI gets so powerful that they're just like, yeah, let's just go to Mars, set up our own little thing, and then let's just leave Americans to their own devices. And then as they leave, they just like secretly blow up all the GPUs and be like, all right, start all over. We're out.
It's possible. AI will either asymptote and not get smarter, or there's no discernible end to the level of intelligence. And that just like humans, the reason our intelligence peaked out is because women wanted to walk upright. And if we didn't care, this is true, if we didn't care if women walked upright, then we could widen their hips even more, tilt their pelvis back even more, and we could just make babies with bigger and bigger heads. But we're in this constant race of like, the vaginal canal is only so big if you want to stand up, And so you can only birth a baby with so large of a head. And we're already at that point where, like we kill the mother a lot because the head is so big. And so it's like, okay, we try to strike a balance, let the brain keep gestating outside of the womb for another 25 years. But if we were just like, nah, you don't get to stand up anymore, then it's like, cool, head can get bigger and bigger and bigger, which will house a larger and larger brain.
But is that going to the assumption a bigger brain means you're smarter? Like Einstein and the bouncer, who's a certified idiot, they have the same size brain.
Yes. However, there are different regions of the brain that are larger. And yes, brain size when running the right developmental algorithms do matter a lot. And so if you want to make humans smarter and smarter and smarter, there are going to be trade-offs because the skull doesn't get any bigger. But this is hypothesis. Okay. This is why I think we're finding that AI doesn't seem to show those upper bounds. Is for a minute we thought you just can't get enough GPUs to cohere. They can't think together. And then Elon said, hold my beer, and built the largest supercluster ever built, and it worked just fine. And so people were like, oh, maybe there's no limit to this. And then the Chinese were like, hold my beer, and they gave us way more efficient algorithms. And so it's like, supposedly, the Chinese have also now developed a chip that's 10,000 times faster than an NVIDIA chip, and it's not quantum. So it's like, well, even if that ends up being 200 times faster, it's like, okay, there are obviously still a lot of breakthroughs to be had, which will only make AI more likely to get smarter and smarter and smarter. And so the one thing, because there's a guy named Yann LeCun who works at Facebook, who just laughs at the entire field for thinking that AI is going to keep getting smarter. And so I hit Roman and was like, okay, well, what about Yann LeCun? He's saying that LLM just isn't the right structure. We're going to need a totally different approach. And he said, in the field of AI, Yann has become known as the guy that will say, this is never going to happen. And literally, before the podcast is over where he's saying it, a breakthrough will happen that will beat what he just said. And he was like, that keeps happening to him over and over and over. So he's like, yeah, LLMs, we don't need another breakthrough. We just need to keep adding on compute. And if he's right, ooh, buddy.
Well, we shall figure it out. Let's jump back domestically. News out of the Department of War just quietly ordered every single state National Guard to train a quick reaction force of 500 troops per state, trained in crowd control and civil disturbance. Trump is preparing for widespread public backlash. Something big is coming. Now, one side, this is bringing up how certain officials are now living in military bases. Trump is about to do a coup. They're going full crazy.
Trump's going to do a coup, but you could have a problem with Snap. Like, if the government keeps getting shut down and people really are getting in dire straits, people really might go ham.
That's why I think it's like on the back of what if there's a No Kings protest that breaks left or something like that. That's where I'm seeing this kind of play. But when you initially read this headline, did you go to...
I immediately went to Snap. I'm like, he knows that there could be real unrest. He's got no reason to push something right now that would be bigger or worse than ICE. The fact that they're not backing down on ICE, I think that's big. And so you're probably going to see more and more of that. I think it's big that you've got people like Gavin Newsom, like the mayor of Portland, that are like, hey, he can come in and we just don't care. Like, we're going to push back. You've got a lot of people assaulting ICE officers. So it's like, yeah, being ready. You never know where something might pop off because you're thinking, look, I'm going to cram these policies down people's throats, whether they want me to or not. So from that perspective, I get that. Like, you want to be prepared and you want people to know I'm not going to back off. Do I think that he's cooking something crazy? The craziest thing that I think the Trump administration is cooking is I think this motherfucker is really trying to find a path to a third term. And that is crazy. And so that one would twig me out. If they do anything other than try to get an amendment passed, because listen, I'm prepared to live with the decisions of the masses. And so if people vote to amend the Constitution, then it is what it is. Like, the Constitution needs to be amendable. So if people voted for it, I would be on this camera all the time, laying out the best possible arguments that I can find for why that is a terrible idea. But that's the thing that, like, at least the one that triggers me, where I'm like, yeah, I would get why people would rebel against that. I get why there would be civil unrest with that. Also, just the economic stability continues to climb. So being ready for more civil unrest is probably not a bad idea. But I don't know. Is there anything on anybody's radar specifically, or people are just like, there's something big?
It's literally something big because it was the same time the Atlantic released this article that top Trump officials are moving onto military bases. So Stephen Miller, Marco Rubio, Kristi Noem, they have now taken their homes on
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. There's like growing calls for their heads. There are bounties being put on people, but I don't think it's for something new coming up. I think it's just like, hey, look, it'll be easier to protect you guys there. You're traveling a lot anyway. Just come on base. Let's make it easy. Let's make sure you and your kids are safe and sound. Yeah, for sure. Totally get that. But I think SNAP is a big enough concern. You don't have to look farther. It's like that runs out tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So, dude, that is going to be wild. And also, people need to like strap in for a political debate because people are going to say, we're funding. So one, there is a very disingenuous thing going around that is so gross. Like this kind of stuff winds me up. But they're saying the vast majority of people on SNAP are illegal immigrants. And then the stat that they give is like 84% of Honduran immigrants are on SNAP. It's like, that is very different than 84%
of
SNAP recipients are immigrants. Like, what are you saying?
Math is hard for people.
So it's like a way smaller number. It's like 5 or 6% or something. I think the highest number I've heard is 11%. So I'm not saying it's zero. It's not zero. But like, there's no way. They're so dumb, they can't understand what they're saying. So these are all disingenuous people that are trying to put out an obviously fake stat to get other people to think, oh, like this is really a thing. It's wild. So anyway, that just isn't true. So the vast majority of SNAP recipients are U.S. citizens. So just get into that. But you're already seeing arguments like, and I have to admit, I find some of these very interesting. The average weight of a woman in the U.S. is like 124 pounds or something. The average weight of a SNAP recipient is like 211 pounds. It's not that, but it's like the difference was gnarly. So it's like, okay, these are not under caloried people. They might be undernourished people, but you're going to see that argument. That's going to go ham. Then you're going to see that people have been selling SNAP. Then you're going to see that some percentage of people are going to riot because they didn't get their SNAP. And so that all is going to get very potentially weird. Then on top of that, there really will be some percentage, though I imagine it's not a very high number. There will be some percentage of people who are so food insecure and have no like backup plan of church or family or whatever that will legitimately go hungry. And that is not going to be cool. And when you see a little kid who's clearly undernourished being like, I'm not eating, that a lot of people better have their heartstrings pulled on because that's horrific.
Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't know that the SNAP number was 42 million, so that surprised me.
42 million is way too many, A, and B, I know we don't necessarily map each other directly on this one, but I think the fact that it went up over COVID and has not come back down is crazy.
42 million is way too much. 10% of the well, roughly it's like 12, 13% of the entire U.S. population. Still too much.
Well, so let's say this. There's no just number that you can say, okay, well, then you should never have that many people on it. I can't say that. I think it should be means tested. So what I'm saying is I'm running an algorithm in my brain that says there needs to be means testing. There's no universe in which there's 42 million people that can't make enough money to feed themselves. So then I'm like, okay, so what means testing are we doing? I don't know the answer to that. So I wouldn't want to pop off without like really diving into like what it should be. But there should definitely be means testing. Show.
It's interesting to me because I'm saying like reading the chat right now. Some people are like, that's still too many. We need to get it off. One person, Die Switch, said plenty of places to get cheap or free food, churches, food banks. Food banks were just defunded under this administration as well. Half these people in the world, in America, are atheists, and now you want to go to church.
So
it's like,
here's the moral of that story, because I actually largely agree with that. we have decided as a culture that government is here to protect us. Government is here to take care of us. I shouldn't have to work. The government should have my back. So if I lose my job or if I want to have kids or whatever, the government should just pick up the tab. And you get the world that enough people want. So whatever, I would fight very vehemently against that for reasons of making people's lives better. But the reality is what people are saying when they talk about food banks and churches is push that decision-making away from a large federal government, which becomes predatory, parasitic extremely fast. And you have a predatory government right now. You have a parasitic government right now. So if you want to know what they look like what we have. So you shove that decision or those responsibilities down to the local level so that families are taking care of each other. Churches are taking care of the local community, that activists stay local. And so they help aggregate food for the people in need that are around them. That is, I think, largely the ethos, at least of the people that have thought through the problem. Mm-hmm. That's largely the ethos of people that are saying food banks. They're not saying government supplied food banks. They're saying food banks. So people that want to give back in some way, they want to organize something, like take Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins has fed more than 1 billion people. I'm almost certain that's true. It is a huge number that I think is over 1 billion people. And so this is an example of a guy who had a church show up at his house, offer them food for Thanksgiving. His father almost gets in a fight with this guy because his father obviously feels like a loss of pride. Yeah. And so Tony's like, but I just want the food. And so I think the story ends with they actually do get the food, but his dad is very angry. And he ends up eating it. And Tony says, one day I'm going to make enough money that I'm going to be the one that helps other people. And so Tony, a big part of his story is as he's climbing up, as he's starting to make money, even when he's like young and doesn't have a lot of money, he's like donating food. And so it's things like that. Like when you push things down like that to the local level, you're not saying those people are going to go hungry. You're just saying it stops being this nameless, faceless, no checks and balances, take from the taxpayer and then distribute, and then you create a parasitic system. Instead, you're saying this is people that know the people that they're helping, and there's means testing in that sense where if you know this guy's an alcoholic and he's beating his wife, like, okay, we've got a problem here, but I want to make sure that the wife and the kids are taken care of. They know what the situation is. So they're not just going to give them money because the guy's going to drink it away. They're going to go and they're going to get them food. And so that's where it's like, yeah, that's a better place for these things to be handled because you're distributing the decision-making and you're allowing people to get meaning and purpose to say like, you know, I bust my ass and I give back to my local community. I can look the people in the eye and be like, I want to help you. I want to do right. And I want, people to feel good. It's honestly, it's probably better than like the Billie Eilish thing where she's like, hey, billionaires, you need to give away more money. It's like, I'd be far more impressed where it's a local thing where people are touching the lives of the people that they know. They're helping out people that they see around them. If it's, the traditional way of doing this where it's somebody who's like, listen, I don't get down like that, but I'm going to give a bunch of money to my local church and my local church is going to get down like that. So you still get all the ways for the people who are wealthy and they're not going to be working at the soup kitchen or whatever. And even like give them good motives for a second. They're running a company that creates hundreds or thousands of jobs. And it is so time consuming in a way that I don't think people understand. And so it's like, that gives that person a way to, one, we want them to do that. So they get a flex and feel like, they're the guy that gets the best seat in the church and all that. And they, get gold idols hung up at the church and the deacon or the bishop of the area comes and acknowledges them and all that. But then also a lot of people in the neighborhood get fed because of their donation. So great. So I think that is a far more efficient way of doing this. Decentralize.
Yeah, Recluse13 said in the chat, again, this is what socialism looks like. 42 million people that are dependent on government to eat will starve. And I think that is an interesting thing that we're not saying is that there are 42 million people that need the government to feed them.
The government has created 42 million dependents. I'll say it that way.
The government has created 42 million dependents.
Correct.
And the reason you're flipping is because you fed them, they now get used to it. It's like a pigeon. If I didn't throw the bread, they wouldn't have came here.
Well, that, and then people, they build their life around it. So let's say that you're always throwing the bread to the pigeons. pigeons go and tell other pigeons, no, just go there. You don't have to spend all day flying around. Just go to that location at this time. There's this really nice guy. He comes with all his bread. There's plenty of it for all of us. And man, no matter how many of us show up, he just brings more and more bread. So it's like, well, yeah, then if I'm a pigeon that previously had to work my ass off, I'm just like, oh, well, this is dope. I'm just going to go do this. Yeah. And then if it's like, hey, by the way, if you have kids, they'll give you extra bread. Then it's like, oh, so wait, I'm incentivized to have more kids? Yeah. Yes. Cool. But by the way, if you have a partner pigeon, they won't give you money for the kids. Oh, okay. So I want to be single, but I want to have a bunch of
I want to be a single pigeon
babies. So yes. Then it's like people follow the incentives. This is the Charlie Munger quote, show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcome. Yeah. So we've out of compassion, fine, I'm perfectly willing to accept that. But out of compassion, we've created terrible incentives. So in entrepreneurship, we call this perverse incentives. So if you're trying to like motivate your sales team, you're like, okay, I really want them to do this thing. And so you start paying them for doing that thing. And then you realize, well, hold on a second. Now you're like over optimizing for that. And you're forgetting about this thing over here. It's like, what? And so whenever you create a comp structure, the first thing you do is run through what are all the perverse incentives to where they're actually going to just optimize for like dollars and cents in their bank account, not what's actually good for the long-term health of the company, which ironically is how they're going to get paid. But nonetheless, people will get into short-term thinking. And then you run it as a test pilot and say, okay, we're going to do this for 6 months conditionally. We may revert back. We have to see how this works out. And so we don't do anything like that.
I'm seeing in the chat, there's two sides of the argument. On one side, it's selfishness and greed. We have the money. It's in the bank account. We
don't have the money. That's a lie. They're already off their rocker.
Got it.
But okay, keep going.
No, but that's it. Because I was going to say the other side is entitlement. Why should my tax dollars fund you? So You're saying we're in a deficit, full stop. If America was in a surplus, snap for everybody. We can talk about it. We can figure out how we could do that.
It would be a terrible idea, but at least then you're a balanced budget.
So until the 37 trillion goes to zero, you're on the team, the least amount of government assistance as humanly possible we should do.
Until we have a balanced budget, I'm just default, should we spend on this? No. So I don't even need to think about it. I don't need to think how many people it's good for. I'm just like, no, you have to balance your budget. So if you're like, Republicans bad because they're deficit spending, Democrats worse because they want to deficit spend even more. I mean, that's literally just how I think about it. Now, if you're asking me to construct the ideal government, I would say it's something far more like what we had at the founding of the country. We were very skeptical of a centralized bank. And so we created one so that we could rebuild using the upside of modern monetary theory. So we could use those trade-offs, but only for 20 years. And then the bank automatically closed at the end of 20 years. And we tried to revive it, and we kept getting rejected until 1913 when they really just got clever. And they went to Jekyll Island, and they came up with a strategy for how they were going to get this passed. And they ended up getting it passed. And that's how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And so once you're deficit spending, you take from everybody, and you only give to people that understand assets. It's just crazy.
There's something that you said there, right? Because you said we shouldn't spend, full stop. And then two people came up, and I want to read both of their comments. One person said, oh, but we had the money for tax cuts. So I feel like tax cuts.
We had the money for tax cuts. That is the most, okay, look, you're here and I'm really grateful. And so I don't want to always be flippant. I reserve the right to be sometimes. But you're not thinking through the problem. You have base assumptions that are so lunatic that you now feel entitled to other people's money. So remember, when you say tax dollars, what you really mean is somebody, a known person, is going to work for free for some period of their year. What gives you the right to say that? Like, that's wild. So people already just have this base assumption that the government should be able to collect as much tax as it wants, no limit, 90% tax. And so they think not stealing someone's money is as if it was the government's money and they're giving it away to people. Motherfucker, you're just not stealing it. That's so wild. So if somebody breaks into my house and I'm like, hey, please don't steal that, like that really means something to me. And then that person acts like they're actually doing me a favor by not stealing that item. Are you out of your mind? That's so wild already. So
I got one more for you.
Yeah.
It gets even better. Number 2 says, yep, he doesn't care about the average citizen. It's disgusting.
I trust they mean somebody else in chat, and they are not talking about me, because there's no way. There's no
Although
way.
there's 350 million people and 42 million on Snap, so I would argue the average citizen is not on. So, not the average citizen is not.
I think you're giving them an out that I'm not going to give them.
I'm trying to.
If they are talking about me, this is so wild. Okay, so if I see somebody giving their kid ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that kid has type 2 diabetes at 6 years old, and I see that kid smoking cigarettes, doing occasional meth, and I go in and I say, this is outrageous. You need to stop feeding that kid ice cream, and you need to get them some chicken breast stat. And then somebody goes, he just doesn't want to see kids happy. I'm like, okay, that's full retard. So I expect people to work. I expect everyone to contribute to the group. I don't expect there to be any freeloaders. And so if we go, listen, there are some circumstances, they're just too brutal. So you've got an 80-year-old, her kids died before her, and now like she's really in dire straits. She can't make ends meet. And so like, are we just going to let her starve, or are we going to get her on Snap or something like that? I'd be like, okay, if people vote for that, I get that. If they didn't, though, and they said, no, that's what the church and families are for, I'd be like, yeah, I also get that. So on that one, I'm like, if we're in a balanced budget and people decide healthcare is the thing they want, and they want people that are like, truly, she can't go to work anymore, she's physically frail, she's got no family, and we want to be thoughtful about that, I got no beef with that in a balanced budget. What I'm saying is everything is a trade-off. There's no utopia. When you start taxing people to death, innovation begins to tank. I know people don't want that to be true, but it is. And you get parasites on the system because they realize, oh, this is just an easy way to get money. I'm not saying everybody on the system is like that, but I'm saying that there is a distressing percentage. That also attracts the wrong people for immigration. When America was, hey, come here, you're probably going to die, but you've got freedom. We got the most hardcore, literally puritanical people. They had a Puritan work ethic. They were super hardcore. They're like, we're going to win the survival game on like hardcore mode. Cool. That gets you a very different type of person than you get when you say we have open borders, free healthcare, and SNAP benefits, even if you're illegal. So which country are you trying to build? Now, I don't mind if people hate me for this, but the country I'm trying to build is the country that loves freedom, loves innovation, wants an equal playing field where everybody's got a shot, but that people can fall and you can go from rich to broke, that you can go from I can feed myself to I can't feed myself. Yes, that is the game that I'm trying to play. That's the level that I'm trying to build. Now, what I believe to happen in circumstances like that is that there's a reason that churches exist, meaning from an evolutionary standpoint, there is a reason that they exist, that very few people will be left to starve to death in the streets. And when I look at the alternative where people are left to just drug overdose in the streets, I'm like, yeah, I don't want that. I don't want a super permissive culture. I want people to build a moral framework on which we expect people to work hard, to push themselves to be better, and where at the individual level we go, I have deep empathy for this person. I don't want to see them suffer, so I'm going to help them. I'm not saying let people starve in the streets. I'm saying it's not the government's job to take care of that. I'm saying push that down to the local level and then count on the fact that people are good, that people will take care of those people. The number of people that are going to starve to death on the streets will be vanishingly small. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I'm saying it will be vanishingly small because humans are deeply compassionate, deeply empathetic, and they will take care of those people. I'm just saying you're at the wrong level of analysis. Saying this all needs to like push up to the government level is exactly how the government itself becomes a parasite. And again, if you want to know, well, Tom, what does it look like when the government becomes a parasite? It looks like young people can't afford a house, okay? And that's where we're at. And so all of the like, I just want to take care of everybody yields an outcome where you're not taking care of people. And so I'm just saying, like, I'm way more into the ethos that the country was founded on that yielded the most prosperous nation the world has ever seen than I am late stages of that prosperousness where everybody's confused about how we got here. And so if you've ever seen the ant and the cricket or grasshopper, that story where the grasshopper just fucks around all the time and the ants are constantly preparing for winter, just saying, I'd rather be in a scenario where you got a whole bunch of ants planning for the winter. Everybody's like, yo, yes, I want to be the best ant. I want to be the ant at the top of the hill. I want to have the most resources. Cool. Leverage that desire for people that want to play the game hard and like they really want to like go do something incredible. Unleash all of that potential. That was the first 100 years of America.
Okay. I want you to dive into this, right?
Sure.
Take innovation off the table. Let's just talk about math.
Okay.
Dollars and cents.
Yep.
Dollars and cents, ones and twos, subtractions and additions. Balancing the budget. Somebody in the chat said, the reason we can't balance the budget is because Americans don't want to tax businesses and corporations the appropriate rate.
Against the wall.
So let's dollars and cents. You can't say innovation.
Yeah.
You can't say corporate flight.
Yep.
You can't say libertarianism.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you buzzwords. Like just look at the math. Would the math work if we taxed billionaires, corporations, and tax and high income earners? I don't know what else. A high enough rate, like
No.
from a math perspective. Why would
we
that
know
work?
because we've tried it. So this is the Laffer curve. In fact, you showed me a clip this morning. It's from like 12 or 15 years ago, but it's Peter Schiff, longtime friend of the show. What's up, Peter? You're the man. And during Occupy Wall Street, Peter Schiff went down to argue with all these kids because he felt the way that I feel now, which is I want you guys to do well. The system really is rigged against you, but you're barking up the wrong tree. And so he was arguing with somebody, and that person was like, we should just tax you. Like anything over, I think the guy's pitch was, oh, yeah, play it. Here we go. Take a listen.
So you think that I should pay 70% of my income above $2 million in tax?
$2 million a year?
Yes. Do you
I
think
think your next dollar should be taxed at 74%.
Okay, so if that's the deal, you know what I would do? Once my income got to $2 million, I would stop working for the year. I would furlough my employees and say, you know what? I've made my limit. I'm not going to work for 30 cents on the dollar. I'm playing golf. I'm going fishing. I'll see you next February. How about that?
How come that didn't apply in the 1970s and 1960s?
Because nobody paid those taxes back then. You know how many? I would much rather.
The economy was booming when the effective tax.
So
because no one paid those high taxes.
The funny thing is, the 70s, the economy was an absolute atrocity. So this kid is just ignorant. But what Peter is saying, and he's just ignoring him, is what Peter's describing is a perverse incentive. You've just now perversely incentivized that person to stop working. Now, because people don't understand, the only reason we have any tax dollars whatsoever is because of entrepreneurs. That one fact alone. If people had to build their worldview on top of that, they would sketch out. They would finally understand why this never works. There are no magical dollars coming. There are only tax dollars generated by entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs solve a problem. They create a product. They hire people. Those incredible workers, amazing workers who contribute to this world. I don't want anyone to think I'm not saying workers aren't paying the taxes, but the workers only have a job because of an entrepreneur who's willing to build the thing, is capable of building the thing, carries all the stress of making payroll, not making payroll, all of that, like nightmare scenarios at times, oftentimes have their entire like house, car, everything is tied up. If the company goes away, they lose everything. Sometimes they're in debt even after the company. Like, dude, anyway. So the only reason that we ever collect a single penny in tax is because of entrepreneurs. People lose sight of that. And you're creating a perverse incentive where they're like, okay, it's not worth it for me to keep working once I hit that cap. So I'm going to make my 2 mil and then I'm going to tap out. That's not the world people want. People want their jobs to be secure. And so then the next moronic thing that they'll say is, well, just legislate that they have to keep running. Can you not hear yourself? You're enslaving an entrepreneur. So now you're saying, don't be an entrepreneur. And so this is why I say freedom is the thing that is the backbone of innovation, because you're raising people to want to do that thing. And I know that people don't like that this is true, but the reality is what you're counting on is that person wants to prove that they're smarter than other people. They want to make more money than other people. And they just want to have a good time building something because they're obsessed. All of that is true. But yeah, they're not going to do it if they can't get ahead. And so you don't have to look any farther than other countries to find out that is exactly what happens. When we, after World War II, had a tax rate of 90% for the wealthiest, we took in less tax per taxpayer than we take in now. I don't know, like, what number will people accept as proof that we've tried this over and over and over and over? It is not in line with the physics of money, nor is it in line with human psychology. It doesn't work for very specific, very explainable reasons, which I have explained time and time again, but there's some base assumption that people are still running in their heads that makes them go, they lose sight of the only reason we have tax money is because of entrepreneurs, and you will eventually have to get guns out and to force them to keep working. And then the next generation just goes, I don't want to be an entrepreneur anymore. And so the country dies. It's happened over and over and over and over. And so it's like, you don't need a lot of base assumptions to build a worldview that will map accurately to what's going on. But God damn it, you have to understand that your worldview is predicated on base assumptions. You are trapped inside of a frame of reference to which you don't even know what the base assumptions are that your worldview is based on. Like, that kid just has a base assumption. People will work because I say they should. Mm-hmm. He doesn't even realize he has that base assumption, and he just keeps pushing.
Because I yell out loud. This is very interesting. For once, I'm not playing the devil's advocate, so I'm sitting here.
Keep coming at me with
I'm watching the dumpster fire that's happening live. Okay. Brutus Lugo probably has the best argument because they said, you said it yourself, Ray Dalio's beautiful deleveraging involves raising taxes on the rich.
Yep. People are so confused by this, but keep going.
No, so that's like, but so you said, like, we have to raise taxes, so why don't you want to raise taxes? So that was kind of their, like, gotcha moment.
Yeah. Okay. Dear chat, give me the 4 beats of a beautiful deleveraging that must be done in concert. I'll wait. Because I'm going to guess they either don't remember, or once they force themselves to write out all 4, they're going to be like, oh, okay, I finally get it. Yeah, I'm not giving them the answer until they put forward all of them.
Look at my scholars in the chat. I see a couple people popping up. So
let's go. Do they have all 4?
I'm gonna call it out. We have austerity.
Yep.
Taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Money printing.
Yep.
And
debt forgiveness.
Debt forgiveness.
Okay. What was the first one you listed?
Austerity.
What's the one we are doing fuck all with?
Debt forgiveness.
Austerity.
Austerity.
So everybody's base assumption is you can just keep taxing people. This is a problem of we're not taking in enough revenue. This is not a problem of you're not taking in enough revenue. This is a problem of you're spending too much money. So if you just keep taxing people, and always spending more money than you tax, you've got a problem. What I'm saying is, yes, for a very limited time, everybody hears me say that, for a very limited time, in concert with a balanced budget, yes, you're going to tax people more. And when they see, they're getting their shit together, they're not spending more than they're intaking, they're raising taxes in a temporary, let's say you put something in and you know that it self-destructs in whatever, 3 years, 5 years. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're walking a fine line. And the reason you don't want to overtax is capital flight. You don't want to incentivize them to stop working. So you're tapping into, like, you want them to feel like, okay, cool, for us to get to the other side of this, I'm going to do it. The reason that you do debt forgiveness and money printing is so that people don't riot in the streets. I don't know if people, they're not mapping why you do the thing. So you don't want people rioting in the streets. So you're going to have to forgive some of their debts, even though if you forgive too much of their debt, the other person riots in the street, the person who was owed the money. Mm-hmm. So it's like everything is this really fine-tuned balance. So when you're doing this, you're saying basically we're going to do an honest default, an honest restructure, and you hope that you can get as many people on board with that as humanly possible. And so you get people go, yes, fine. Okay, for a limited amount of time, I will accept that there is additional taxes because I see that we're balancing the budget. I see that we're doing the things that we need to do to get on the other side of this. I'll take 60 cents on the dollar on my debt because it's better than 0 cents on the dollar, or I don't want to have to flee America with, my money. So cool. And it is brutally difficult. It will be extremely hard to do. And there will almost certainly be people rioting at different times and freaking out. This will not be a smooth transition. But if you want to know why I say yes to get on the other side of this, there will be some of that. That's why. But it will be extremely difficult.
I feel like I got it. People aren't happy, though.
I'm okay with that.
And
when you argue from physics, I don't need people to be happy. Now, if they have a better cause and effect argument, I'll take it because I want to map cause and effect. So if somebody sees where my cause and effect is off, cool. I know that my thinking isn't perfect. That much. The only thing I know for sure is that over time, I'll keep refining and refining and refining. A year ago, I wasn't even thinking about a beautiful deleveraging. So now I'm like, oh yeah, I get why that is a desirable state to move towards, because otherwise you just let the whole system fall, and it will fall. Like right now, we have no intention of doing a beautiful deleveraging. We only have the intention to drive off a cliff. And so that is very sad. And I would rather accept the other things to get America back on the right course. But I actually am not sure that it lines up with the human psyche. And so this is probably something I should do, to go look where are the times and places where a beautiful deleveraging actually happened. And what was the psychological makeup of the people who were able to get to the other side of that? Were they like an extremely homogenous group? Because if they were, then America's never going to be able to pull it off.
Last thing. What do you say to the person that may be on SNAP benefits, that can't work for whatever reason, that has kids, that is at the threat of going hungry? Their cupboards are empty.
Yep.
They're not a greedy illegal. They weren't smuggled over here.
Yep.
They're John and Joe who went to school, who have crazy student loan debt, who got a baby, who has a crying in the other room, and I rely on my $800 a month just to buy some formula, just to buy some milk, just to buy those things. And that is being threatened right now because of this. What do you say to that person?
Get in front of a camera or go somewhere and peacefully say the following thing. This is an absolute outrage and a scandal that you Democrats and Republicans are holding us hostage to get what you want. You have promised me benefits, and I expect you to make good on them. If you would like to legislate a change, by all means legislate the change, and I will adjust my life accordingly. But until you legislate that change, this is an insane dereliction of duty, and it needs to stop immediately. I'm not a pawn in your game. My child is not a pawn in your game. I don't care if you think that I'm moral or deserving. This is a system that you set up. And until you change that system, don't use me as a pawn in your game. I think our politicians are acting like fucking lunatics. I think that this is just ridiculous, top to bottom, and all they care about is what polls well. Mm-hmm. They don't actually care about what do we need to do to move this country forward well. Once I see them balancing the budget, then, okay, I'm going to get excited. Until then, I know you're just stealing from our children's future. Now, I think we want to restructure the country. We have to do it at the level of culture. Mm-hmm. And so I'm doing my best to try to reignite a sense of discipline and hard work and the joy of a growth mindset and getting better. Like, I want to see people embrace that because it's awesome. And no, we're not all going to win at the thing that we wish we were great at, but every single one of us can get 100 times better in the thing that we want to allocate ourselves to. I am arguably one of the worst basketball players in history. I was once surrounded on a live basketball court with actual people in the stands, and I threw the ball straight in the air because I was just panicking that I'd been surrounded. I didn't know what to do. On a team of whatever, 12 or 14 people, I was the only person that had a uniform that didn't match everyone else's. So like they had updated the uniforms, but they gave me one from like before the update. Like, this is how bad I am. Okay. But nonetheless, if I dedicated myself to getting better, I'm never going to be a college basketball player. I may never even be a starter on a high school team, but I could have gotten 100 times better than I was. And I didn't do that because at the time I did not have a growth mindset. And I thought that I was born with a certain set of skills and that was it. And my life was about trying to play that hand as well as I could. Mm-hmm. And that just isn't true. Humans are the ultimate adaptation machine. The only belief that matters is that you can get better at anything that you point yourself at. I'm not saying you can become the best at it. I'm saying you can get better at it, like really a lot better. And so there are a lot of very meaningful things that people could get better at where they could take control of their lives, and they are not. And unfortunately, on a long enough timeline, that takes you from greatest country in the world to an also-ran. Now, I like that there is a push and pull dynamic. I like that you don't think the same as I do on everything. I think that's good. I'm not saying everyone should think like I think. I'm merely offering to people there's a way to think about the world and approach the world that puts you in the driver's seat, that allows you to take advantage of things that are purely evolutionary in nature. Your brain works a certain way, your body works a certain way. If you go into the gym and lift weights in the right way and eat the right things, you will get stronger. You couldn't stop yourself. If somebody ate what I told them to eat, slept in the way that I told them to sleep, and lift the weights in the way that I told them to lift, they will get stronger. They couldn't stop themselves. No matter how much they hate me, no matter how much they don't want it to work, I can transform their physique. I can take anybody, it doesn't matter. I could take somebody with Prader-Willi syndrome and I could get them lean. Now, if you look it up, you're going to realize that's a statement. And so I could 100% get them lean because there are just physics of the situation. And I'm just trying to invite people into that. So your life can be awesome. It will be hard. Not saying it won't be hard, but boy, oh boy, can you get a lot better.
I saw some super chats coming.
Let's go.
Hey.
First up from Joe Gracia for
super chat.
$99.
Let's go. Thank you, Joe Gracia, for the $99 super chat.
Yo,
Yeah,
let's
super
go,
chat.
Joe. Man, Halloween is like people feeling good.
I'll take all the
Halloween.
candy. There you go.
I'll take all the. That was good.
Just wanted to let you know that your message is being heard. Because of you, I now have an investments account for my children and my wife and I. I can't stop telling everyone to do the same. Keep it up. We need more voices like yours. Your efforts are not in vain.
Dude, I'm actually starting to get enough of that comment. It's sinking in now. I love that. Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much, man. That means a lot.
Chipping away, man. Chipping away.
Mason, multiple people are saying they can barely hear you. If you could get a little closer to the mic or speak louder.
He got his Jedi.
We have to upgrade some of Mason's programming, some of his chips.
Yeah.
Like I want to install an emotion like chip so we can like dial. That was the first sign of it.
There it is. There it
it's
is.
working.
It's
We've been
working.
working
Got
on
it.
the programming
got
behind the
it.
scenes. This is exciting.
That's
all right.
that reinforcement learning.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mason
all right.
guys
So he's
come
going to get
play.
closer to the mic.
Okay, so closer to the mic. One more feel-goody one. Dan Clark said, as I said on Wednesday, only 2% change, but 2% of 342,034,432 Americans is a lot of people. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, that's dope. Hopefully one day we can reach a much larger percentage of that. Thanks to you guys. Like our numbers have gone up so much. I'm so grateful to you guys. So thank you for being here. It means a lot.
And then Sequoia Hall said, poor folks live in food deserts with only 7-Elevens and the worst ultra-processed food available near them. We saw this in San Jose, where there are no grocery stores in poor areas. So many factors on food insecurity in the U.S.
All very true. So this is where we go, what are the physics of this situation? And the physics of the situation are that there isn't financial opportunity for entrepreneurs to build in those neighborhoods for a host of reasons, but the one that's easiest is crime. So if somebody wanted to make a concentrated effort and they just said, okay, I'm going to go work with local, like the police department, the DA, so that when people get arrested, they actually go to jail. And we're going to make this a crime-free zone. I'm going to lobby Washington, and I'm going to get special tax zones made. And then we're going to invite entrepreneurs. I mean, look at what Magic Johnson did, like made himself just fantastically wealthy by building in underserved areas. So you just have to do the things to protect those areas and incentivize people to come in. But when you let them be lawless, like I've told the story a dozen times, when you let a local Burger King be the place that people practice robbing, you're not going to get a lot of restaurants opening up. So you've got to have the law being enforced. Defunding the police is moronic. Fund the police more, train them better. Yeah. So doing things like that would work because all you have to do is trust people to be selfish. And if you trust people to be selfish, they will come in and they will innovate. Oh, also, please educate your youth because people tend to think about the areas that they grew up in. So if you educate the life out of all the people in the inner cities, then you're going to catch all the ones that are bright. And they're going to be like, ooh, there's a financial opportunity for me to bring a grocery store here. Dude, people will import. You guys know the story of Pokemon? Like, it's insane. Back in I assume he started doing this in the 80s. There was just a guy, and he was like, I'm going to go to Japan as a white kid, and I'm just going to build relationships with all these Japanese companies, and I'm going to import all this stuff that Americans just laugh at. They think all Japanese entertainment is hilarious, and I'm going to import it. So while you guys are all fucking with G.I. Joe, I'm going to bring in Pokemon. And now he is stupid wealthy, and Pokemon is the single largest IP ever created in human history, okay? It doesn't beat Harry Potter or Star Wars. It dwarfs them. So if somebody can figure out, I'm going to go to Japan and bring that back to America, you can imagine a kid that grew up in the inner cities is like, yeah, I'm going to go to Beverly Hills. Like, what's the version of Erewhon that I can bring here? Not like all fancy stuff, but somewhere that makes you feel cool. So in your local neighborhood, going into this place, not gated by money, I understand that, but like what Target did, where Target would do these team ups with like high-end designers, and they would make something accessible to people. In fact, I went through a phase in this, did not end up being something that I pursued, but in like 2006, one of my early ventures was going to be, this is in the boom, thank God, which by the way, I've never given myself enough credit for this. In 2006, I shut down my then almost real estate business because I was like, this doesn't make sense. Something is going wrong. I don't know what it is. But the second I don't understand what's happening, I'm like, and I don't understand what's happening, I've got to back out of this. And so Lisa and I had a deal. We were literally about to sign it. And I'm just like, no, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And anyway, a year and a half later, and people thought I was crazy. And a year and a half later, boom. So anyway, you do these deals with people. I was going to do that for, because this is in when I'm big brothering, so I'm in the hood all the time. And I'm like, I want to bring Target style home decor to like inner cities. Cause I was like, why do they always have to be slumlords? Like, why can't, like, these people will take pride in it, like, but they have to have something that's accessible anyway. So you find people that do this kind of thing where they grew up in that, but they've got the goods, they've got the intellect, they were trained because our education system in this fantasy land stopped sucking. They learn entrepreneurship, they learn novel problem solving, they learn first principles thinking, and they start bringing that stuff into those neighborhoods. I'm telling you, like, this is all in alignment with the physics. Target did a bang up job. I forget, like, some of the designers they worked with were like ultra high end, and they would do the accessible thing because rich people have a phrase: if you want to eat with the classes, build for the masses. So find that way. And so in a world where 60% is struggling to make ends meet, it's like, elevate those people, make things for those people, and you will do very well. And this is exactly why what's his name is so wealthy. Magic Johnson. Shout out.
Next up from Marusha Dark, path to third term. Appoint Trump as House Speaker.
Please God, no.
POTUS and VP resign.
I hate this idea. Literally there's no words they could say that I'm going to like this idea. But keep going.
The rest of it is Trump is installed via line of succession. Argue the elected point of the amendment in court when challenged. Don't love it, but perfectly lawful.
Oh, God. Well, at least you don't love it, so I'll celebrate you for that. Oh, God, this horrible. We do not want this. No. Bad idea. So if you want it when it's somebody you love, remember it will be used by the person you hate. So, no, thank you.
That's all we got on Superchats.
Let's go.
Okay, wait a second. I see this one come through every now and then, so I am going to take a second. Tom has good insights, but we can't expect him to understand plights of people from a perspective he has never experienced. What perspective do you think that is? I did not grow up with money, so let's start with that. So I didn't get wealthy until my late 30s, so I'm not sure what perspective people think I don't have. I have lived where I had allergies. If you heard Mason like an hour ago when he couldn't hardly speak, I had that for a year. I would get random nosebleeds because I could not afford health insurance. So I couldn't go to the doctor. Allergy medicines, let this one hit you. Allergy medicines weren't over the counter. You could not get Claritin. There was no Zyrtec for you. There was only, I was stuffed up for an entire year. I'm not kidding. I sounded like that with your nose totally stuffed up. I breathed through my mouth every second of every day for an entire year. And I would blow my nose so much that I was routinely getting nosebleeds. Why? Because I couldn't afford health insurance. So I'm very grateful to my parents, who I was never hungry as a kid. I did once have to drink pickle juice because there was nothing else in the house. But if you imagine me growing up poor, it would be inaccurate. I thought I was poor growing up until I met people that actually grew up in poverty. There is a very big difference. So I did not grow up poor. But when I graduated from college with debt, my dad, for the last 5 months, wrote me a letter, 5 more months. 4 more months, 3 more months, 2 more months. So at whatever, 21 or 22 when I graduated, I never got another dime of assistance from my parents. God bless them. I had to sell insurance door to door, literally knock, knock, buy this. Not fun. I've been on unemployment. I've been in positions where I couldn't pay all my bills at the same time. I've lived off of, shout out to Tina's Burritos, 3 for 99 cents. God bless you. You saw me through some very difficult times. So I have not grown up in extreme poverty. I will grant you that. However, I've certainly spent my time around it. I've seen that up extremely close. And like I've said, I've been broke. Now, there is a difference between poverty and broke, but I have done extended periods of broke. So anyway, I don't know what people think that I'm blind to, but please, if you think I'm blind to something, hit me with it. Go all the way. Take me to Haiti or wherever.
Somebody said, I think you've forgotten where you were and the luck of fate.
No, I haven't forgotten either of them. So first of all, luck is real, 1,000%. But at the same time, will you also grant me that hard work is real? So if you'll grant me that hard work is real, rad. I grant you that luck is real. I'm not saying everyone's going to be a millionaire. They're not. In fact, when I was back in my mindset days, the thing I used to say over and over and over, I cannot guarantee you'll be successful, no matter how smart, no matter how hardworking. I can guarantee you will struggle. That is the only thing that life has to offer, guaranteed struggle. But when you struggle well, life can still be dope. When you struggle poorly because you expect other people to come and save you, it's not as good. Now, I love it. If I'm down, I would love somebody to help me. And when other people are down, I help them. I'm just saying, do it at the individual level, not at the government level. That I hope is coming in loud and clear. Do it at the individual level, not at the government level. I want to see people get help when they need it. I think that's beautiful. I love that. I'm just saying, do it at the individual level, not at the government level.
Somebody said I would kill
Marusha, no, I haven't seen it yet. If it has to do with TCG, though, I'm here for it. Say that again.
Somebody said I would kill everybody to save my conscience. And I was like,
that's hard to reconcile.
Like,
your
what?
conscience may be that of a serial killer.
I was like, what? I said the opposite. I wouldn't kill people. How'd I get into
Oh, wait, are they saying you would?
Yeah, I would.
No. Why are people so confused about you?
I don't know. They want me to be a bad guy.
Drew is definitely not a bad guy. A, let's start with that. B, Drew is, I think, very kind-hearted, very loving, very smart, very hardworking.
So
No. Like, I drug you in to a world where you have to deal with YouTube comments. I do feel a sense of responsibility, I won't lie. And you are so good. You spend so little time defending yourself because you know it's not good for the show. I know that, Drew. I see you in like the fucking Avatar way. I want to be very clear. Drew, God forbid that you one day leave this show. Nothing lasts forever. Things come together, things fall apart. God forbid it. But if you should ever, that doesn't mean that you won't forever be in the Hall of Fame. Behind the scenes, all the things that you did to get me to try streaming in the first place, all of it, you will forever get a standing ovation. Even if you go out like a psychopath, if you go out and you're doing videos why I no longer work for Tom and you're like Tom's an asshole.
Why I left Tom.
Dude, I just saw one for why I quit Diary of a CEO. I'm like, yeah, you know you made it when your former employees are like doing the outro videos. So
okay.
Anyway, even if you did that,
we're getting waved off. We got to go. We have one more super chat.
We're out.
We have one more super chat. We got to go.
Right at the buzzer. From Lirith, please make a 2032 campaign for president with Bustamante as DNI. If you were POTUS, who would be your Secretary of State, Secretary of Treasury, Defense Attorney General, Secretary of Commerce, and Energy, blah, blah, blah.
Tom President, Bustamante DNI. You need a solid vice, though. You would need a political guy for vice.
When I say never, ever, ever, if this wasn't a super chat, I would not even think about this. I don't think people understand how much I despise politics. The reason I despise politics is you must say one thing and do another, some percentage of the time. And I have no interest in that whatsoever. Also, people are so power hungry that they are just actively trying to take you down every day. So as an entrepreneur, you're constantly confronting the chaos machine. But the reason that I don't want to be a public company, the reason I don't want to go raise a bunch of capital is I don't want a bunch of people pulling in opposite directions and all that. Like that is a level of misery that I have no interest in whatsoever. The person you actually want to run for office in a moment like this is Jocko Willink. Okay, you are in Thucydides' trap.
Good.
You're in Thucydides' trap with China, so you need somebody that's not going to fuck around. But like, really listen to him. If you push him into a corner, he's not going to fuck around at all. But he's deeply compassionate. He's somebody that spent so much of his time trying to create other leaders. So he's not somebody that's like, oh, I got to be at the top of the hill. He's clearly shown that he can marshal a bunch of resources. He knows what it means to send somebody to their death. Like, that's the guy that you want to be focused on. I really think he's got the right kind of heart. He is not to be trifled with. You do not fuck around with Jocko Willink. He will push back if he needs to. He is not a pushover. He is a martial threat. Like, in a room, he will fuck up every world leader. That's so gangster. I want that. Like, I want that. I'm going to have to be like, how big is Xi? Like, can Xi fight? He will fucking literally name a world leader that Jocko won't break whatever bone he decides is going to be broken. And he's intellectual. I'm telling you.
Putin was badass when he had his shirt off and he was like shooting a bear and all that.
Listen.
Putin is the only one.
Russians are not for play, but Jocko would fuck Putin up. Like, dude, Jocko breaks arms like as a matter of practice. Like, he is a jujitsu. I think he's a black belt. I think he's been a black belt for a long time. And there's a guy out there, I forget his name, but to this day, just from rolling with Jocko, he feels like some weird like press at the back of his throat, which makes him want to cough all the time. Just from like rolling with Jocko. Jeez. Dude, that's like when you know you've got like that tree trunk strength. Like, nope, not here to play. So anyway, he is such a fascinating combination. I really want him to run for office. So trust me, that's who you want. You want me on the outside. You want me building businesses. You want me being a pundit. Know what you're good at. I am good at novel problem solving. I am very good at thinking from first principles. The great irony is the thing that made me good at thinking from first principles is my memory is terrible. So I'm constantly reconstructing things from cause and effect because otherwise I can't remember it. I have to remember how things daisy chain. That's how I remember things about the economy. I have to actually understand how it works. When I'm left to just memorize things, I'm like, fuck, I don't remember how this goes. So, in fact, speaking of, we teach this thing called Zero to Founder. I'm going to be doing a free live masterclass next week. Drew is going to tell you the date. And so I will oftentimes go up in front of either students or people will pay me to go speak. And I'm like, listen, the thing you want me to do is you want me to just answer questions. I know you think you want me to give a lecture, but you actually want me to answer questions. And the reason is there's something about, I don't know what people are going to ask. I have nowhere to hide. And all I'm going to do is walk people through cause and effect, how to solve problems I've never heard of before. And especially in a business context, because I've done it so much, I can walk people through what looks like I know something about your business or I know something about your industry. And the reality is that I don't. I know about cause and effect. And so I'm running something I call the physics of progress, just very fast and thinking up from first principles. And so it ends up being very useful in that context for sure. So anyway, that's the thing I'm good at. That's where you want someone with my roll of the dice to be. You don't want me in politics. I'd be terrible at it. First of all, I do not like networking. I don't like schmoozing. I have ADHD, which I think is a superpower, meaning I have hyperfocus. So even if I'm in a room full of dignitaries, it is not interesting to me to be like, oh, I'm the leader here. Oh my God, all eyes are on me and I've got to go do a thing. I'm not interested in that. I'm thinking about a problem and I am what I call collapsing inside of myself. That is not who you want for president. All right, that was a lot of words to remind people I'm not the guy you want to vote for. But thank you for being here, which I actually think is my zone of genius. So I appreciate you guys. You're amazing. Happy Halloween, by the way, everybody. And today was insane from a super chat perspective. So thank you. Super, super generous.
Yeah, super chat.
And to all the people being encouraging to keep going. Means a lot. Actually does have the impact that you want it to have. And what's the date, Drew? When should people join me?
Tuesday, November 11th, Leveraging AI Masterclass.
There it is. So
Mason just dropped the link.
And you guys are going to walk away with 5 AI agents, but you have to show up live. So make sure that you come. It's smashed for us. Absolutely smashed. So, all right, guys. Love you all. And I will see you next week. Peace. Happy Halloween. Later.